It's been a very long off-season. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakoda from the front. They're packing up behind number one. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see them funneling through the center S's. It looks as though everyone is just about made it through. We have got ourselves some contact though, Rachel.
Side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Humpy's got the advantage, but Ottinger's not going to.
Oh, he got into him!
Ottinger gets into the 58, turns right into him, and that ends Ottinger's run.
We do a lot of live broadcasts now. Every Tuesday is NASCAR night, so on alternating Tuesdays we do the Peak Antifreeze Series, and on the other Tuesdays the B-Class Series, which is the Xfinity cars, and sometimes we'll even do some short track racing depending on the schedule. Every other Saturday we do the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, so the best road racers we have. And we also broadcast some special events, including the Endurance Championship, which is part of the Road Warriors Series. So we broadcast the Daytona 24, the Sebring 12-hour, we'll do the Watkins Glen 6-hour, several other races along there. And then, of course, the iRacing Pro Racing Champions, which is usually our biggest and most watched event of the year.
That is short track racing, and that's how awesome this sim is, Joe. That's something you see on TV on highlight reels, and we just saw it here, live.
We invite iRacers who are real-world racers, and they compete every December. Guys like Alex Gurney, Justin Wilson, Scott Speed, Ron Capps, the list goes on. Really some big name drivers from all major forms of motorsport. It's really neat to see them get together and race together.
See Laughlin up top, down to the ball, gets turned! Laughlin gets turned! Caution is out foul at the front of the field!
The easiest place to find the broadcast is on our website, iRacing.com/live. So you can find some of our races on fanschoice.tv as well. A nice place to find iRacing broadcasts. You can also find it at mrn.com and peakauto.com.
The world's greatest online road racers head themselves into another round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series, and for the first time in season history, we head ourselves to the one and only Monza. It is set just outside of Milan in Italy, and it's one of the world's most famous racetracks, and today it plays host to this, the 5th round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. Will Vincent along with Johnny Simon, Rachel Whiteford. Qualifying is already underway as drivers, as always, have themselves 3 laps to go as fast as they absolutely possibly can. Now, coming into this event, we have had ourselves a change in the championship standings. Alexei Yakoda still leads away, but Gregor Hutu's up 1 position. Martin Cronkey still there in 3rd place, and Enzo Benito rounding out your top 4. You can see the big mover in your top 8 is Mitchell de Jong. He has, of course, fallen down, running a part-time schedule this season. That means that Hutu now sits 2nd place in the championship. Drivers are on their laps, and we are looking at that driver of Gregor Hutu as he heads himself down now the back straightaway down towards the Variante Ascari. This is turn number 8, 9 and 10 on the racetrack. You will notice just how fast this racetrack is. 10 minutes to go in qualifying, and Johnny, it's been a race we've been looking forward to for a very long time, and finally it is upon us. This is Monza, and we are ready for some incredible action.
Certainly are for this wonderful afternoon of another round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. A lot into the unknown as Hutu comes across the final corner. We don't know how strategy is going to be. Most drivers electing to 1 or 2 stop. How are they going to implement setups to go around this track as well, as Hutu will cross the line and begin his qualifying lap.
Yep, so you can see then running on board with that Team Redline driver of Gregor Hutu down in towards the first of 3 chicanes here. This is number 1, Variante del Rettifilio. Out of that, down through the Curva Grande into turn number 3. Then you head yourself down into the Variante della Roggia. And Rachel, this track's had itself a number of changes over the years, but overall, one thing about Monza remains the same. It is fast.
Yep, possibly the fastest track we have on the schedule, Will, of course. And what a track it is, of course. Corners like Parabolica and the Ascari Chicane Complex, some of the most memorable corners in motor racing. And we're here today for the first time. So it's going to be a priceless watch.
Well, you see Hutu's now working himself down towards the Variante Ascari once again. So far, it's Cronke leading the way in qualifying. Benito second. Picard has just moved himself up into third. The gap between Picard and Luis is currently just 1/100th of a second. And then Philo, off the back of a strong Radicals qualifying just 2 weeks ago, once again doing well in qualifications. He currently scored in the 5th position. But Hutu now works himself out of the curve of Parabolica down towards start-finish line. He comes. Let's see whether or not he can get himself towards the front of the grid. Qualifying time for him is going to be 2nd place, 1 minute 21.762. Then it looks as though that is going to be it for now for Gregor Hutu. Enzo Benito, though, is on the racetrack as he heads himself now down in towards the Variante Ascari, running on board with him in that Fanatic OKO Team Redline car as he now works himself down that back straight away towards the Parabolica himself. And let's have a look at his lap times then. Sector 1, 58.1 seconds. Sector 2, 27. This is actually an out lap by the looks of it there, Johnny. So he's working himself now onto a flyer.
He is indeed. Gregor Hutu's lap didn't look that perfect. He's only in P2, only 200ths of a second behind Martin Cronke in P1. The battle between Coanda and Redline there. Benito, though, on the run down to turn 1, 333 kilometers an hour. And you can see the rear end sliding, almost locking up the rears as he tries and gets a smooth exit out of the first chicane. He does indeed. So far, it seems to be a pretty good lap for Enzo Benito.
Yeah, Benito now working himself through the Curva Grande down towards the 2nd chicane once again, the Variante della Roggia. And this is, of course, where we had that unfortunate incident back in the opening lap for the 2000 Italian Grand Prix as we ride now on board with Benito through Lesmo number 1. A short little straightaway here as he heads himself now and down into that 2nd Lesmo. 2 right-hand corners before you work yourself down in this long back straight. And of course, well, Johnny, this back straight became famous a couple of years back with Michael Schumacher being a little bit defensive with Lewis Hamilton. We might see that one here today.
Yeah, we will indeed. We know some teams electing to run very, very high top speed. Some of them going for more of a downforce package. Benito, though, not showing enough aggression through this second part of the sector. Sorry, the second sector of the lap, and he approaches the final corner as well. It's going to be real important. Though now he shows the aggression. It could be too late for him as he tries to power down out of the Parabolica.
Out of the final corner he comes. He works himself down towards start-finish line. Enzo Benito will stay in the 3rd place for the time being, so it doesn't look as though he'll improve his time. Gregor Hutu is on the racetrack. Here you can see Mogar Philo in the number 11 Radicals Online car, now working himself down towards start-finish line. Will he be able to improve on his fastest lap of the day? The answer to that is going to be no, he won't, as he now is done on qualifying. Andre Borgia just completing his qualifying as well. He's moved himself up into 2nd place. And a little bit further back, a disappointing day so far, Rachel, by Alexei Usiakola, your championship leader, all the way down in P11. This is one driver that we're looking at, though. Jake Sturgis, P number 13, iNext Racing. These guys really are wildcards here today.
Yeah, they can be. And Alexei, of course, he has got a spare lap to go, so he can get something here. But we know last time out, well, not last time, but Phillip Island, he destroyed his first lap, and his second one was pole. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. But iNext, yep, they've always had the fastest speed in the traps, and expecting probably quite a lot from them here today.
Yeah, and iNext Racing, Jake Sturgis now heading himself down through the Parabolica, trying to improve on 13th place in qualifying. You got Gregor Hutu, still scored on the racetrack. Oli Picarda is moved himself up into 4th place. We talked about him a little bit earlier on. And Jake Sturgis working himself past start finish line. He is now going to work himself onto a lap as they can see Gregor Hutu now beginning another lap around this racetrack in that Team Redline machine. Of course, he is the 2014 iRacing.com World Champion, being a champion multiple times in 2010, 2012, all the way through 2014. One of the greatest sim racers on the planet. Oli Picardo, though, is on a lap, Johnny, and he's just running the exit now of Lesmo 2, walking himself down towards the very anti-Ascari.
Oh, the very difficult Ascari chicane now. It's so, you can lose the rear end easily if the car's not set up right now. He brakes there, trying to maximize the lines as well. Misses the first apex by a few millimeters, but picks it up for the exit. So nice through there in Ascari. And now as he heads towards Parabolica, switch it to the left side of the track, braking as close to the grass as you can to maximize the limits of the track. He doesn't go on the white lines as much though, and now on the exit he does maximize the limits of the track. So it's a great finish to the lap so far. I'm not sure how his sector times are. You'd expect him to stay to the right of the flag. Indeed though, I'm not sure if he's I think this might actually be the beginning of the lap for him now.
Yep, so he's working himself onto one himself now. Gregor Hutu on the exit of the Parabolica. Will he be able to get himself towards pole position? 25 1,000ths of a second, and he goes to pole. So Gregor Hutu moves himself to the top of the timing stands, but here is Martin Kroenke. He is getting ready to respond as he is building himself up to another lap. So once again, Rachel, it's Coanda versus Redline in that battle for pole position as Kroenke works himself down towards the first chicane.
He does indeed, and it's been this story all season, of course, but, well, Hutu's coming back with some form that we've not seen in quite a while from qualifying. Can he hold this P1 in the race so far? Of course, Martin Kroenke now in Curva Grande. Great flat-out fast corner here. The car just gripping perfectly as we head down towards the second chicane here. This is a little easier than the first one, of course. A bit more open, and you can get a lot better exit speed. So, nice chicane there. Great line through that, actually. Coming down to the first Lesmos. Will he get a good run through it? It's a little wide, possibly, but I think he might still have something here.
Yeah, they can see Kroenke now on the exit of the second Lesmo, working himself down towards that third chicane. You can see Oli Picardo on your screens a moment ago. He's now on the exit of the Parabolica. We ride on board of him as he works himself down towards the start-finish line. Will Picardo be able to improve on his position? The answer to the question is going to be no. He improves his time, but not his position. So he's still in P4. Martin Kroenke, Coanda Simsport now, working himself down towards the Parabolica himself. Here he comes then. One more corner to go. 2 minutes remaining in qualifying. Alexei Usiakola has not gone back out into the racetrack, so he will not be able to improve his time. There's no real time now for him to get his laps in. Martin Kroenke past the line. He improves his time, not his position, and that one pretty much means, unless Hugo Louise can do something amazing in the next minute or so here, Johnny, it will be Gregor Hutu on pole position for the second race in a row.
Yeah, wow, incredible. The gap there, 0.02 of a second, and we'll see if Hugo Luis can indeed capitalize on that. We know he's struggled a bit compared to teammate Martin Kroenke throughout the season. He's been a couple of tenths down in the early races. Now it's all up to Hutu. He's currently in 5th position. How many positions can he gain from this lap? Realistically, he can get up to 3rd with an improvement as well. Down the back though, Rico Alatalo in 34th. Poor qualifying performance from him. And wow, so Alexei Usiakola is the biggest headline though there in 13th.
Yeah, got a couple of people still classified on the racetrack. Here you've got Maran S. Kolak just working himself onto a lap. Now, he should just about be able to complete that in time. He's currently down in the 33rd position in that.
We're going to stop you there. Luis has lost it coming to the second chicane. His time is done.
So Hugo Luis will not be able to improve then on his qualifying time. So he is done. We'll get ourselves a quick replay of this one. Right on board with him. This is down into the second chicane. You can see over the curbs, getting snapped sideways. His qualifying is done. He will start no higher than P number 5 in today's qualifying. So that means that unless Justin Lindsay can put out an absolute miracle, and we don't think, with all the great respect in the world to Justin Lindsay, he'll be able to do so, it will be the driver of Gregor Hutu on pole position here today. Justin Lindsay past start finish line in the Coanda Sim Sports car, and he will indeed be in the 32nd position. Maran S. Collar is the last driver there in that Phillips RBS car as he goes very sideways down the exit of Ascari. That's his qualifying done. That is qualifying done, ladies and gentlemen, and that means we can run you through your final qualifying results. So 34 drivers have attempted to qualify for this round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series, and it was Gregor Hutu for Fnatic Team Redline, who claims his second pole position in a row. 2/100ths of a second back is Martin Kroenke in the Ferrari Coanda Simsport machine. It is an all-team Redline row number 2 with Enzo Benito and a much improved Oli Picada in qualifying. He finishes in 4th place, and then it's an all Brazilian third row of the grid with Coanda Simsport's Hugo Luiz in 5th, and then Mo Garfido. Another impressive performance by the Radicals Online team. They are really best of the rest in P number 6. Andre Borcher is in 7th for Coanda, and then Tommaso Carda for Movano Frostmaster X team in 8th. Jake Sturgios for Inex Racing does improve to 9th, and then the Orion Race team driver of Yalvaz rounds out your top 10. On space number 2, you can see it's Patrick Holtzman in 11th place for Movano, then Ilka Hapada in 12th place for Orion. Team Redline driver Alexei Yusiakola all the way back in P number 13, and then it's Paul Ilbrink in 14th, an all French row number 8 with David de Corps and Jeremy Bouteloup, and then it's an all-Finnish row number 9, Yoni Tamala and Jonas Dekurian, Poya Muir and Robin Friskops rounding out your top 20. And then you can see finally, you got Isaac Price in 21st positions. Jorge Montana is making his first appearance in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series back in 22nd position. Then you got yourself Richard Avery, Yuhu Abe, Miguel Martin, Dion Verges, Tom Meglek, Antoine Heglin, Frank Levesque IV, and Benjamin Lindsay running out your top 30. Having a look back then at the final drivers, and it is going to be at the very rear of your field, Risky Urisake in 31st position. In the running racing team car, Justin Lindsay, Mohanes Kolak and Ruku Alatalo starting this race from the very back of the field. We're going to step aside for just one moment, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with continued pre-race coverage for this round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. And don't forget, the world's best sim racers live in the iRacing.com World Championship Series. We'll be back in just one moment's time. Cars are lined up on the grid. The iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. We are underway. They all come down into turn 1 for the first time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to pre-race coverage for this, the 5th round of the RaceSpotTV World Championship Grand Prix Series from the one and only Monza. And, well, big stories in qualifying. We'll start, Johnny, with that driver of Gregor Hutu, who once again getting pole position, his second pole position in a row.
Yeah, well done to Gregor Hutu. We know taking his 45th career win last time out. Can he make it 46 at Monza? Certainly from P1, it looks like he can get the job done though, but not easily because Martin Kroenke 2/100ths of a second behind. Monza just gets as close as that at this track, but way far behind. Benito 2/10ths, and then Pacala and the rest of the grid. It seems like it could be a 2-horse race at this point in time, although it is early days to make predictions such as that.
Yep, and Rachel, on the other side of the field, you've got yourself another Finnish driver, iWCGPS. He is not having the kind of qualifying he would have wanted here today.
No, he really isn't, and from a guy that's been on the pole twice, we expected a lot more from him, but of course this is a new track for everybody, so there is a lot of unknown ground. Alexei is great in the race, and I'm kind of worried, considering how good his starts are. Me and Johnny were talking about this during the break. He has incredibly fast starts, and yeah, that could be a problem.
One of the positives, once again, though, Rachel, is the fact that we have got that Radicals Online team once again showing themselves to be best of the rest, and we didn't really think about this before the start of the season. We thought it was either going to be the Movano Frostmaster X team or the resurgent Ultra Orion race team, but Radicals are showing once again that, well, Mogar Filo is one of the best drivers in this series. P number 6 for him, best of the rest, and, well, last time their strategy didn't work out for them. Today, I think they're going to have to think very carefully. 1 stop or 2 stop.
Yeah, and of course they've got a chance here. They are essentially the Williams at the moment. We've got we have Coand and Redline, they are Ferrari, they are Mercedes, and as things stand, I think the Radicals have a real chance to pull something here with the top 2 teams fighting so hard. They can just sneak in and take advantage, and the strategy could be interesting. I know I was talking to some drivers beforehand, and most seem to be looking at the 1 stop, so no real strategy undercut to be used there, but we know the Radicals have high top speeds, and that could be critical today.
Yep, what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, then, we are going to have a ride on board with the driver who came home in pole position here today. It is the one and only Mr. Gregor Hutu, and let's get our cameras then up on him and have a look at the pole lap. You can see this lap here, it really starts all the way down at the Parabolica. Get yourself a nice exit through here, because that way you'll be able to sort yourself out to get yourself maximum top speed as you head yourself straight down towards turn number 1. It is called the first chicane, the Variete della Rettifilo, and that is what Gregor Hutu's coming down into. Look at that, 300, 200, 150, 100, all the way down to 75 meters, then hard onto the brakes, turning right, then turning left, and flicking that car back to the right, a little bit there of snap oversteer on the exit of the corner, but not too bad as Gregor Hutu works himself through the Curva Grande, turn number 3. It's now a short run as you head yourself down to the second chicane, the Variante della Roggia. This is a left hand into a right hander. You can see Hutu once again braking late, using a lot of those sausage curbs. Car getting a little bit unsighted there on the exit of the corner. Now down into Curva de Lesmo, turn number 6. That first right hander, short little straightaway, then down, brake at the 50-meter board for Lesmo number 2. Pushing wide there did Gregor Hutu as he now works himself down the Curva do Sergio. This is, of course, where Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton had their famous battle back in 2010. Now down into Variante Ascari, turns number 8, 9, and 10. Left, then on the throttle through the first part of the right-hand flick, then just dabbing the brakes through turn number 10. Onto the back straightaway, into the most famous corner on the racetrack, arguably, is the Curva Parabolica, turn number 11. Yes, it's been paved, but this corner is still an absolute dog of a corner. Exit yourself as fast as you possibly can. Move that car to the right-hand side, and that, Johnny, is how you get yourself, in fact, that's how you get yourself a lap here at Monza and get yourself pole position. Johnny?
Apologies, sorry. Technical issue, but I'm back, and yeah, great lap from Gregor Hutu. You know, you have to push, especially at those chicanes. The exits coming out of corners important as well. The red line car set up quite well for Gregor there as nicely as well. So we talk about getting the run out of the first chicane, the exit, as well as out of that second Lesmo corner and the Ascari chicane. Two very important corners, and then finally out of the Parabolica. Hutu's nailed that, and that's why he's on pole position.
Rachel, having a look a little bit further down the field. Now, Team Redline, they have seemed to have improved, with the exception of Yakono, of course. You got yourself Enzo Benito, good qualifying by him down in P3, and then Oli Picana in 4th place. It does look as though that Coanda in qualifying trim are a little bit off of that Team Redline duo. And qualifying here, it does show you a little bit, but I'm sure these drivers are going to be very careful about not giving too much away in qualifying, because at the end of the day, you have got yourself a very fast car, then you don't really need to worry about qualifying. Get yourself for the first couple of laps, open that engine up on the straightaways, and that is how you are going to get yourself top 5s here today.
I think you're right, and whilst it is important for track position here with, like I say, drivers really looking at one stop, so you're not going to be able to undercut people. And if you can get that clean air early on and you have a fast car, you're right, it will be a big, big deal. And with the draft here being so big on these long straightaways, that can be a major factor. So I do think possibly Coanda have something maybe up their sleeve, we don't know. But Redline certainly looking dominant as usual. Will it translate to the race? Well, we're about to find out.
Well, 34 drivers have made that journey to Monza here today. And it does mean that every single driver is going to be in this race. And that means we can give a very big welcome to Jorge Montanez. Welcome him to the world's most realistic, the world's most competitive online racing simulation series for road racing, the iWCGPS World Championship Grand Prix Series. And Johnny, Montanez now has achieved a dream that many, many sim racers spend years training for.
Yeah, it takes a while to get into the World Championship. He's earned it through hard work. A very, very promising prospect, someone you have to keep your eyes on. And he's entered himself into 22nd on the grid, and we know how competitive this series is, as you mentioned. One mistake in qualifying can drop you 10, 15 places on the grid.
Yeah, and it was a good performance by him. We are going to head ourselves over to the race in about 14 minutes time. Rachel, those pre-race nerves are now getting to the minds of the drivers, but will it be another lights the flag victory for Hutu here today? Can Kroenke do something, or will it be one of those people a little bit further back making some surprises?
Well, I think this is an unknown race. We're at the fastest track, we have never been here before, and we've only just seen what they can do in qualifying. We don't know what they can do in this race. All prior form does not matter here. It could be Inex, it could be Radicals, it could be Coanda, it could be Redline, it could be any of them. Hutu is, of course, in prime position, being on the pole, and, well, the first time he's been on pole since his run of bad qualifying, so he put it in victory lane, so I think it is possible that he could go lights to lights here, but, well, we're going to find out, and I think there could be a surprise.
That could well be a surprise, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to step aside for just one moment's time. Get ourselves then ready for this, the 5th round of the iWCGPS World Championship Grand Prix Series. Don't forget, for more information about the iWCGPS World Championship Grand Prix Series and the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com, head over to wcs.iRacing.com. And the two most realistic, the two most dominant racing series in the world lives on iRacing Live. We'll be back after this message.
It's been a very long off-season. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world. And we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car, endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakoda from the front. They're packing up behind number one. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number one for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see them funneling through the center S's. It looks as though everyone is just about made it through. We have got ourselves some contact though, Rachel.
Side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Humpy's got the advantage, but Ottinger's not going to.
Oh, he got into him!
Ottinger gets into the 58, turns right into him, and that ends Ottinger's run.
We do a lot of live broadcasts now. Every Tuesday is NASCAR night, so on alternating Tuesdays we do the Peak Antifreeze series, and on the other Tuesdays the B-Class series, which is the Xfinity cars, and sometimes we'll even do some short track racing depending on the schedule. Every other Saturday we do the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix series, so the best road racers we have. And we also broadcast some special events, including the Endurance Championship, which is part of the Road Warriors series. So we broadcast the Daytona 24, the Sebring 12-hour, we'll do the Watkins Glen 6-hour, several other races along there. And then, of course, the iRacing Pro Racing Champions, which is usually our biggest and most watched event of the year.
That is short track racing, and that's how awesome this sim is, Joe. That's something you see on TV on highlight reels, and we just saw it here, live.
We invite iRacers who are real-world racers, and they compete every December. Guys like Alex Gurney, Justin Wilson, Scott Speed, Ron Capps, the list goes on. Really some big-name drivers from all major forms of motorsport. It's really neat to see them get together and race together.
See Laughlin up top, down to the ball, gets turned! Laughlin gets turned! Caution is out foul at the front of the field!
The easiest place to find the broadcast is on our website, iracing.com/live. So you can find some of our races on fanschoice.tv as well. A nice place to find iRacing broadcasts. You can also find it at mrn.com and peakauto.com.
Cars are lined up on the grid. The iWCGPS World Championship Grand Prix Series. We are underway. They all come down into turn one for the first time. The RaceSpotTV World Championship Grand Prix Series has been to many venues across 5 different continents, but it has never been to the heartland of Italy until now. As for the first time ever in series history, it heads to the Autodromo there, Monza, for this, the 5th round of the RaceSpotTV World Championship Grand Prix Series. It's Gregor Hutu on pole position after a nail-biting qualifying, although he's got some tough pressure from Martin Kroenke, just 2/100ths of a second back in qualifying, and who knows what will happen over the course of the 53 laps here today. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Will Vinton with Johnny Simon, Rachel Whitefield for this coverage of the 5th round of the championship here on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live. Live timing and scoring will be available shortly if you head over to RaceSpot.tv/timing. For more information, head over to wcs.iracing.com for all your latest news, interviews and more from the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series and the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com. Johnny, finally, we can say we are at Monza.
We are. This track built in 1922 is taking us a while. No, I'm just kidding. But it's iRacing. Great to see them get this venue out finally for everybody, especially the World Championship Series. It's going to be, as I said, a step into the unknown. We talked about earlier on before qualifying, who's going to do what, how the setup's going to go, who's going to attack in which places. We don't know how these cars are going to work around this track as well, at least from the commentary booth and from a spectator's viewpoints. These drivers are going to show us all of that today, and all of that in just a few minutes' time, as lots of drivers rushing madly out of the pit lane.
Yeah, Rachel, Monza, it's a track that evokes emotion, probably more than any other track on the Formula One calendar. And you think, whenever Ferrari wins here, it is a sea of the Tifosi. Even if they both retire, they are still as passionate as anyone else. And who can forget Mika Häkkinen, 1999, spinning out down at the first chicane, going to have a little cry behind in the forest. Or no one would see him, broadcasting millions on TV.
It is indeed in Monza. It is the cathedral of speed. One of the oldest Grand Prix circuits still running, and it's just synonymous with speed and fast racing. This track is... everybody knows Monza. It is one of those names that just rings true in all of motorsports, and the racing is always amazing when we come here. In the real world, in iRacing, it's so exciting. This track just lends itself to fast side-by-side racing, and we're expecting an incredible race today. The first time we've been here, so this is going to be just a world of the unknown, and I can't wait.
Yep, Johnny, as those cars getting themselves from that standing start down into the Variante del Rettifilio, who knows what could happen. And we've seen some big incidents before in World Championship competition. Arguably, we had a big one at Suzuka last year. We had ourselves a big one also at Circuit of the Americas as Oli Picardo stalled on the grid. This is that one start that drivers have been more worried about than probably anything other than a free wide start at Indianapolis for the Indy 500.
Yeah, very long run down to turn one. We know different drivers have different starting procedures. Some engage a little bit more clutch than the others. The throttle inputs as well change. Setup also has to play as well with how you've geared gear 1 and 2 to try and get that run down to turn 1. Downforce as well. Lots of factors. It's going to bring everybody into variable circumstances at the start as well. We see drivers now. We look at Gregor Hutu if we switched him. He's making a practice start as well. A bit of wheel spin as well, but nice and clean for him. So that's going to be very interesting as well. There's lots of drivers screaming towards the first corner. I wouldn't be surprised if I see 4 wide.
It could be very insane. And don't forget, of course, this track has gone many alterations in this year. As you can actually see Gregor Hutu heading himself down into the second chicane. Now, this track wasn't built with chicanes. It was built with an oval. But over time, like every other racetrack in the world, it's had to evolve. It's had to change. The current first chicane, well, that came into being in 2000. The Variante Ascari, well, that Gregor Hutu's coming down towards in just one moment's time. That has been in place since 1972. And it is one of the most favourite corner combinations of any driver in racing. As we actually have a look then at Gregor Hutu, just working himself past Frank Levesque. No, he doesn't. There in the friction racing cars, they come down into that Variante Ascari. Who knows what will happen here today as far as downforce goes, as far as drag goes. But what we can tell you is what the qualifying for this race will be. I'm going to show you that one on your screen right now. Gregor Hutu then, another pole position, his second in a row in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series, 1:21.575. He gets pole position for Asico Anderson Sports, Martin Kroenke in P number 2, with Enzo Benito and Oli Picardo making it a team redline lockout on the second row of the grid. We head on back and you can see Hugo Luis is not a bad qualifying by his standards. A little bit further back from what he's used to though. Mo Garfido in 6th, the Radicals on line. Andre Borgia, Tommaso Carter in P7 and 8. And then rounding out your top 10 is Jake Sergios and Yalvaz. Rest of qualifying coming up on your screen. Well, here we are, Rachel. Our final minute before we get ourselves down to the starting grid. These drivers, I think they're going to be nervous.
Who wouldn't be nervous on the starting line for this race? Of course, turn 1. It's slow, so much slower than you really think it should be. And, well, I think we could be in for an exciting one. I said earlier, it's either going to be perfectly clean and nothing will happen, or we will end up in a beehive of death. I'm not sure what it could go either way, and frankly, I expect they'll all be so scared of it that it will go perfectly cleanly because they'll give each other so much room. But it takes one mistake, 1 foot wrong on this start in that chicane, and you've got 4 or 5 cars involved. So these guys are going to have to be very patient. And well, we've got cars out of position speed-wise in qualifying. Cars who start very quickly. Could be prelude to disaster.
Well, the drivers now head themselves down to the starting grid for this, the 5th round of the RaceSpotTV World Championship Grand Prix Series. Live timing and scoring will be available in just a couple of moments' time if you head over to RaceSpot.tv/timing. That one brought to you here today by And1 Design, as is our aerial coverage from today's event. So it's been a race which has been years in the making. It's been one which drivers of the RaceSpotTV World Championship Grand Prix Series have been looking forward to for so long. There is Gregor Hutu starting this race on pole position in the Fanatec Team Redline number 1 car, the 4-time champion, making his first trip to Monza like everyone else in this field. As we get a look then at our aerial coverage brought to you today by And1 Design, and have a look at this beautiful, magnificent racetrack. You can see the oval there, top of your screen. The drivers are on the starting grid. Engines will rev in just 1 moment's time. Engines are now revving. 5th round of the championship will start right now. And let's get a look. Will all these drivers make it down towards the first chicane in one piece? We get a look, and it's Gregor Hutu, and then it's 3 wide behind him. Down towards the first chicane they come for the first time. Will they all make it? The answer to that question, it is going to be no, Johnny. We've got 2, 3, 4 cars turn around.
No, Ilka Hapala went off the grass. He had an amazing start. Great, it's all his fault. Big crashes as well through the first corner.
We got ourselves Richard Avery involved there. You can see one driver upside down. You've got yourself Richard Avery involved. Frank Levesque, he's a little bit further back down for the field than you expect. Ilka Hapala, he is the driver who is upside down. That is not what you would have wanted. Ilka Hapala out of the race in the early going, but Gregor Hutu is the one who leads right now from Martin Kroenke as they head themselves now down towards this back trailer. Actually, no, it's not Martin Kroenke, it's Ollie Picard, Rachel. He's up in P number 2. What a storming start there by the Finnish driver.
Yeah, he is indeed, and of course his teammate has gone out already, Justin Lindsay, involved in that fracas at the back of the field, but brilliant start there from Picard, of course. Great run through now, he's in P2. Kroenke is of course falling back, but he's on his gearbox now, heading down towards Ascari, so this is definitely not over.
Yep, there you can see Gregor Hutu just behind the blur, working himself now down, and behind him you've got yourself side-by-side racing almost there. It's a battle for P number 3, Enzo Benito versus Martin Kroenke, running along board then. Martin Kroenke will have the inside line down towards turn 1, but Enzo Benito now up into P number 3 on the racetrack. Johnny, let's have a look at the straight line speed there. Martin Kroenke back down to the outside, down towards turn 1, and look at that overspeed there for Martin Kroenke. He moves himself back up into that 3rd position, although Benito's going to respond as they come down into that 3rd chicane.
Oh, side by side, look at this. Kroenke getting very loose on the exit, and that's going to allow Benito back in front as well. So Kroenke, terrible wheel spin as he comes out. I think that's Hugo Luis behind as well. Alexei Usiakula, yeah, no front wing. He's dropping lots of speed at the front as well. I think that was at turn 1 as well. He went straight on at the chicane at turn 1, lap 1. So lots of incidents for him, especially our championship leader.
Look at them, the amount of cars on pit road right now. You got yourself Mogar Philo into his pit box. This is from P6, a broken front wing. You got yourself Riska Osake coming out of the pits. Mogar Philo on pit road. Ruko Alatalo, Jorge Montanes in his first race in the championship. David Corbs, Yalvaz, Ilka Hapala. Well, Rachel, we are going to have another look at this start. It was crazy. It was controversial. And let's have a look at this one once again, because it was insane. And we always said it was either going to be perfectly clean or it was going to be a mess. This time, it was a little bit of a mess.
It was indeed, and well, as soon as I saw one car sideways in that start, it was going to go wrong, and it just continued. Cars did not know where to go, and that just resulted in an absolute mess. It's so unfortunate for these guys. I'm trying to find out who actually started it, but I know one guy locked up, but he got on the grass early, avoiding a 3 wide, and the car just turned on him.
Yeah, we're getting ourselves then a look at the replay now, and here the cars then work themselves down in towards turn number 1, and it was down in the middle part of your pack. Now, because of the fact that Mo Garfield was involved getting himself a broken front wing, I'm wondering whether he was there in the mix. There was one driver, that was the Orion Race Team car, who got turned around first, and then he got sent upside down. I believe that was Ilka Hapala. It was Ilka Hapala that started that huge chain reaction. The second that one of these drivers goes off, well, after that, Johnny, into such a tight corner, you're always going to have a little bit of drama.
Yeah, I'm surprised it was Ilka Hapala. It was all on his own. I think he just locked up. He got onto the grass, so I'm not sure what happened. Maybe a lack of concentration, which I doubt, because there must have been something wrong with that car. But he had such an amazing start. Watching on board from Alexei Usiakala, you could just see Hapala driving away, screaming away as well. And Alexei Usiakala, yeah, at the Ascari chicane, David Corpse out braking himself, collecting Yakala there. So, oh, it's a terrible first lap for our championship leader. He's all the way down the field as well in 29th position. So, well, he's just going to have to keep his head up. He's already a minute behind leader Gregor Hutu.
Yeah, and there you can see, actually, it was Alexei Usiakala down that third chicane. He ended up having to kick some cones up, take the escape roads. Actually, two Orion Racing drivers ended up making contact with each other. Out front, though, Gregor Hutu has the early advantage, Rachel, 1.9 seconds ahead of Enzo Benito. As we have a look through your top 5, it is a team red line, 1, 2, 3. 4 places, Martin Cronke, and then it's Hugo Louise running out your top 5.
Yes, it is. Of course, the Team Redline leading the way here today with Hutu, Picala, and Benito. But Cronke is hot on the heels. He's a little bit further back than Benito and Picala, who are running together. But Cronke is certainly a factor here. Hugo Louise behind him. Great recovery and escape through that first corner for him. He will be trying to get up to his teammates and help him draft back towards us through redline cars. Yeah, you can see riding on board with Yuhu Abe, Eunice Nakuri and Robin Friscott just ahead of him, battling for position. Friscott's able to get himself there ahead of Eunice Nakuri. And so Friscott in today's race has had himself, oh so far, not bad. 6 positions up, Johnny, and that is exactly what you want to see if you're a member of that IronX Racing team. We know they are fast. They are proving it here today.
Yeah, we're giving them lots of hype, and already with few laps through, and they're already living up to that hype. So Friscop's into P13, so he's up 7 positions from his starting position from 20th, already on a charge towards 12th position. That's Isaac Price in front, who's trying to battle with Jeremy Boothroop. They're getting really close side by side into Parabolico. Yeah, and then they come, you can see that front of your screen, they are going side by side. We'll turn our attention over to that one, and there you can see Isaac Price there, still side by side on the exit of the Parabolica. Down towards turn 1 they come. We rattle on board of Isaac Price, and here you can see he's just going to pull himself now into that slipstream, and he'll try and make himself another late move down towards turn 1. Look at the overspeed there by Isaac Price down in towards that first corner, but just not able to make it stick, Rachel. Realistically, he wanted to be fully behind there. The fact that he was side by side with Bootleaf on the exit of the corner really meant that he wasn't able to capitalise down towards turn 1. Yeah, it's tough to get that lined up properly, but, wow. Not there this time, but there's still quite a lot of racing left to go, of course. Jake Sturgis riding along board with him in another one of the IronX Racing cars. He's currently scored in P number 7. Andre Borgia, Hugo Louise just ahead of him on the exit now of Lesma number 2, working himself down towards the Variante Ascari. Turns number 8, 9 and 10 on this racetrack. And let's get a look then at the speed of Jake Sturgill. Show that one on your screen. Just 7 tenths of a second between himself and Andre Borgia. Through the Ascari chicane they come. And Jake Sturgill, what he wants to do, Johnny, is he wants to try and take these one at a time, because that way, if they can start getting a bit of a gap, that overspeed can work well for them, compared to if they're running in a pack like you see right now. Louise or Borgia just very closely separated, just 7 tenths of a second separating those two drivers. Yeah, a lot of people think, and it's a bit silly to think this, but you only get slipstream on straights. Even if it's a short straight, maybe if it's about 100-meter straight, you always got to stick behind the other driver. I know it overheats the car. It's Patrick Holtzman trying to set up Jake Sterios into turn 1, and I think he might outbrake him. No, nice braking there from Jake Sterios. So he's already maintained P7 away. But yeah, see, in corners and the exits as well, stick behind the car, get that slipstream as well at every moment you can. Patrick Holtzman doing a great job already into P8, sticking in the slipstream, and that's why he's creeping up so close now into the second chicane.
Yeah, there you can see Holtzman, he had his wheels alongside down into the first chicane, decided to back off of it there in the early going then of this race. He still runs himself in P number 8 on the racetrack, but out front, Enzo Benito is catching the 4-time champion, Gregor Hutu, Johnny.
Oh, we'll see now if maybe... I don't think maybe Hutu's on a different strategy to his teammate at the moment. Who knows? We'll find out soon. But maybe a lot of drivers, 1 stopping, 2 stopping. Benito almost loses the car in the exit of Ascari. We know how easy it is to do that around a track like this, especially in these Williams 2009 Formula 1 cars. Very, very close. Look at the extra speed he carries through the Parabolica, trying to maintain it through the exit. This is incredible as well. Lots of battles throughout the track.
Yep, and Enzo Benito just 3 tenths of a second behind his teammate down towards turn 1. This will be an indication of strategy if Hutu just allows Benito to go by. Down towards turn 1 they come, and Benito will ride in line for the time being. But it is Hutu from Benito, then Picard, Cronke, Luis. They are your top 5 as it stands right now. Give you an update on drivers out of the race. Richard Avery, David Corbs, Ilka Hapada, Yal Vaz, Rico Natalo, Frank Levesque the 4th. What a bad day here today, Rachel, for the Orion race team. Although you out front, you've still got this fascinating battle going on between the 2 Team Redline drivers. There's a little bit of a wiggle there from Enzo Benito on the exit of the 2nd chicane.
Yeah, it's a shame to see those guys out, but they were one of the main possible outsiders we were looking at for a good finish here. Of course, they've always had decent speed, so I was expecting something to happen from those guys. Unfortunately, it happened in the wrong way and too soon, but as things go, it's the typical old story. We have Redline and we have Coander at the front, and we have people like Sturgis and Holzman looking in on the top 10, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens over this one so far. Of course, the drafted teammates are going to pay off big time. Of course, we have Cronke and Luis together, we have Redline cars together, so of course Borcher behind Luis, so that's going to be a major, major factor now. If those cars can stick together, run in line, they can catch up ahead to the cars ahead.
Yep, there you can see then, down towards turn 1 they can't. We ride on board of Enzo Benito. It doesn't look as though he is trying to do anything to get himself past that 4-time champion. So this might just be out and out pace there for Enzo Benito. Down towards the first chicane, they work themselves once again. Down in the field though, Johnny, still some great battles going on. This one continues between now Robin Fiscops and Isaac Price, 2 teammates battling for position. And they've also got Eunice Nakurian right behind him as Yu Abe catching up to that battle now in that running racing car. Currently scored down in P number 15 on the racetrack, and he has moved himself up 9 positions since the start of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, we can. This is the stage of the race where you start to see trains forming up. Isaac Price, great start from him. Yes, he said 9 positions. He's into 12th. And well, as the trains start to evolve, those stuck in the trains can start to fuel save. Not just because you're into the slipstream of the car in front, that allows you to, well, there's less drag, less pressure on the engine as well. You can run longer in the stints, it could help your strategy, but by how much, we'll see how much drivers adjust their strategy throughout this race. It will be very interesting to see.
Yeah, running on board then with Hugh Abe on the exit of the first Lesmo. Down into Lesmo number 2 it comes as he still runs himself in that 15th position on the track. And Patrick Holtzman versus Jake Sturgis, Rachel. That one continues between the very fast Vivano team and the very fast Inex Racing. Vivano, though, doing a good fight right now. Got their driver Patrick Holtzman scored inside of the top 10. And he's overall doing a pretty good job. Although Tommaso Caio is all the way down in P number 23 of them to make a pit stop at the early stage of this race. Holtzman going very wide there on the exit of the Parabolica.
Yeah, difficult corner there to get right. Parabolica is carrying a lot of speed, so it's really important to get that line right on the entry. If you don't get the entry right, you will push out towards that green, what we call it, grasscrete?
Yeah. As we have a look on board there with Jake Sturgis in the Inex Racing car. This is a look then from what you would basically be able to see in the car. This is through the Curva Grande. Just look at the speed he is taking. 320 kilometers an hour down into that 2nd chicane. He still runs in P2 as Enzo Benito has worked himself to the race lead, Johnny.
Well, so Benito, yeah, wow, so he's into the race lead quite cleanly. We'll have a look at where that happened as well. We'll get a replay for you at the moment. So Enzo Benito into the race lead. Good job from him. Now he just has to push, break away from teammate Gregor Hutu, as I think Enzo is approaching a lap car in front. Got to get into the slipstream
of Yakoda by the looks of it.
Oh! So we'll see how much Alexi... Wow, this is incredible. The championship leader being lapped here at Monza after this round. He almost certainly will not be the championship leader. most likely be Gregor Hutu, as Benito, so they got past Alexei Usiakla. 45 laps remaining, 44 now as he crosses the line. Plenty of time to go in this race. The race winner is not, well, it hasn't shown themselves in these early stages. It certainly does look like though it could be a red line battle for the win.
Yeah, just having a look at the replay then, or Enzo Benito getting himself past Gregor Hutu, and it did look as though that Hutu just let him go past because, well, Benito's up to 1.6 seconds the gap already, Rachel. So I just got the feeling that maybe Benito's just a little bit lighter on fuel. Maybe they're in this split strategy thing here. Maybe a one-stop and a two-stop to try and cover Coanda. But Benito leads away 1.6 seconds ahead of Gregor Hutu. And this has got to be miserable now for that driver of Alexei Usiakla, who is scored all the way down in P number 27. There you can see him, and he's no longer on the lead lap.
Yeah, it's really tough there for Alexei. He's been so strong in the previous rounds here, of course. Winner of the first two. It's got to be a tough feeling for him, but he has to continue for points right now, so that's really, really important. And of course, got a pass here from Holzman, Patrick Holzman getting past Jake Sturgios at turn 1, Will.
Yeah, we're showing that one on your replay right now. This is on the exit of the Parabolica then, so we ride it along board with Patrick Holzman in that number 27 Movano Thrustmaster X Team car, working himself down towards turn number 1, and that was a nice, easy, simple pass. So when all was said and done, Johnny, down into that first corner of the racetrack, Holzman using the speed well there over the IDEX Racing driver of Jake Sturgios.
Yeah, and Holtzman though, he's struggling though for consistency, and he'll be the first driver to tell you that he needs to work on his consistency. He knows that P7 at the moment, his teammate Tommaso Carlo and the other Movano car is probably, at least in my opinion, his championship rival or his benchmark that he needs to beat for the moment. And so far he's doing that in this race. Tommaso Carlo's gone one top 10 compared to Holtzman in this season so far. Round 5 now. If Holtzman finishes in P7 at this rate, he'll match Tommaso Carlo. He needs to catch up in the championship. It's been a terrible and poor start for Patrick. This is what we want to see out of him, up there battling with the front guys.
Yeah, there you can see then Patrick Holtzman in that 7th position still on the racetrack. Now, let's have a look at the strategy for today's race. And you can see that one-stoppers will come onto pit road around lap number 26. If you're a two-stop
major
driver...
problem, Will, sorry. Just had a problem with Jonas Nikurian. I think he's major crash.
Well, we'll get ourselves a replay of that one in just 1 moment's time. Two stoppers will come into pit road around lap number 18 and 36. A maximum stint here of 42 laps. We'll get ourselves then a look at Jonas Nikurian as he is currently scored on pit road. Let's get ourselves then another look at this one. See if we can figure out what happened to him. As well, it's been a tough day for Jonas in that Radicals Online car after what was a good start to his race, Rachel.
It was. He survived the early chaos, of course, and was running reasonably well up until he just seemed to run wide on the second Lesmos, and wow, the car just lost traction, went across the gravel trap and impacted the wall and flipped across the circuit.
Well, we'll get ourselves a look at that one in just 1 second's time, then we're actually right on board with Jonas Nikurian, and this is down into that second one. Just the car snapping out on him, upside down and around. Jonas Nikurian out of the race, and lucky there not to take anyone with him. That car nicely to the side of the racetrack, but Jonas Nikurian in the number 22 car will be classified as out of today's race, adding another retiree. We don't normally see single car incidents like that one, Johnny, and well, that second Lesmo, people forget just how tough it is.
Yeah, cambered on mid-corner, and you try to push as well through the exit. We see Nikurian there trying to push, makes a mistake, tries to save the car, it just gets away from him. Monza, setting up the car for Monza is not easy. The car is very difficult to handle if you want to go fast at the moment, as Martin Kroenke trying to creep in on Oli Pacala in front at the moment. He was at the initial stages of this lap, now he's too far behind, as Pacala certainly pushing to the limit, maximizing the track, as I always love to say. So Kroenke now trying to get in front of P3 in that final podium spot.
Yeah, this is that battle for the final step on the podium. There you can see Oli Pacala then heading himself down in towards turn number 1. And let's get a look then at the speed chart. The difference between these two drivers as they come down in towards that first corner. It's up to 330 kilometers an hour. The overspeed there, about 5 kilometers an hour down in towards turn number 1. But that is not enough for Martin Kroenke, Rachel, to get onto the rear of Oli Pacala. Nice little scrap though that is going on. And it's one of the best ones we've got going on right now, as the rest of the field is starting to get itself a little bit more spread out.
It is, and he's slowly creeping in behind Pacala there, so this one is slowly brewing, but that gap down to just under half a second right now. Kroenke could be about to make a move as we head down towards Ascari or from Parabolica, so probably one of the closest fights on the track at the moment, and I think it'll be a switch for position shortly.
Yep, as they now head themselves down into that second Lesmo once again. Martin Kroenke so far in this race has moved himself up. He's actually lost himself a couple of positions, and not a sort of race that Martin Kroenke necessarily would have wanted to have happen. But, Johnny, as we were talking about a moment ago, strategy, there is the opportunity to do a two-stopper and a one-stopper. It will come down to how much traffic there is. And I think these drivers will know that of all the racetracks, this is probably the easiest one to overtake on if you are lucky with traffic. If you're not, well, you've just lost your race. Simple as that.
Yeah, I have so many stories I could share about traffic around this venue, but we'd be here all day, so there's no point for that. So we look at strategy as well. So Benito's certainly going to be two-stopping. He has to push. He's a second a lap faster than, or he was a second lap faster. Now he's 0.8 faster than Pacala and Kroenke battling for the final podium position there in third and fourth. That could really play to his advantage. Benito a second a lap faster, let's say, for the rest of this Grand Prix. Maybe he loses a bit of time when he makes that pit stop. I wouldn't count him out so far. It's going to be interesting to see how his strategy plays out for the moment. But I think being stuck behind Gregor for those couple laps, if he does finish behind P3 or P2 by 1 or 2 seconds, I'm sure he's going to blame that for the moment. But Gregor had all rights to defend that first position.
He did. They can see Paul Ilbrink there just working himself past the lap down car of Alexei Usiakola. Ilbrink's involved in a bit of a battle right now with the INX Racing driver of Yoni Tamara as they're battling for P number 9, P10 on the racetrack, Rachel. 1.1 seconds separating these duo. As well, it's not been a bad start to this race for Paul Ilbrink as he's moved himself up 5 positions so far in this Grand Prix.
He has indeed good survival from Paul Ilbrink at the start of this one. He was one of the cars that took to the escape road to get away from the incident, and it paid off for him, of course, running out in that top 10. Marlowe's coming up behind him, not hugely fast. He has got traffic behind him, or Tamala has actually traffic with Boutaloop and Isaac Price actually running in his rear. But this is going to turn into a 3-horse battle as we get towards the pit cycle.
Yeah, it's idle on board there with Yoni Tamara in that 10th position as they work themselves down towards the Parabonica turn number 11 on this racetrack once again. So let's have a look at your top 5 drivers so far. It is Enzo Benito leading the way from Gregor Hutu, Oli Piccardo, Martin Kroenke, Hugo Louise, Andre Borcha, Patrick Holtzman and Jake Sturgis. They are your top 8 drivers, and the gap between P1 and P2 now up to 5 seconds pretty much. And then it's actually a further 6 seconds back from P2 to P3, Johnny. So overall, Benito, even if he doesn't necessarily get the win, he is looking more and more strong for second place pretty much with every single lap.
Yeah, he is. Oh, sorry, Kroenke right now very, very close to Pacala. It's the closest I've seen. So Kroenke now, actually, you talk about this, is as Pacala picking up some dust as well on the exit of the second Lesmo. Kroenke needs to get into that slipstream. Pacala's taking abnormal lines. It's within his right, but it's not the lines that Kroenke's taking, certainly, as he almost loses the car. Kroenke under braking. You can see the rear sliding as well. So now we see there, look at Pacala though. Now he takes a usual line. There we go. Kroenke creeping in the slipstream. I think we might certainly see a pass here across the main straight.
Down towards the Parabonica then, we're right on board with Martin Kroenke. Piccardo taking a wide exit out the corner. And that's going to allow him to go defensively down towards turn number 1. And a little bit tight on the apex there for Martin Kroenke, but he is closing up. Gap down to 1/10 of a second as they come down in towards turn number 1. Will he make a move? He looks down to the inside. Down towards turn number 1, and Martin Kroenke trying to go for that 3rd place, and he will move himself, Rachel, now into a podium position, although Piccardo getting very close there on the exit of that first chicane.
He is indeed, and great pass there from Kroenke. Textbook Monza pass into turn 1. Piccardo being very respectful there, which is expected at this level, but all the same to see them actually getting that done. Can he hold that pace though? Will he be able to pull away from Oli Piccardo over this lap? It's going to be tough.
Yeah, there we are. Have a look at the replay there from on board of Oli Piccardo. Down towards turn number 1 they come. And Piccardo losing that position then. We'll have a look on board. This is where it gets mighty close on the exit of the corner. You can see just trying to get that power down, having to wait there for Kroenke to go. Piccardo now down into P number 4. We do expect that driver of Enzo Benito onto pit road in about 4 laps time, Johnny. In fact, realistically, it could be within the next 3 laps.
Oh, and look at the traffic he's going to feed into. We have a look around maybe 30 to 40 seconds. He's going to feed into a mad pack of drivers. You lose so much time making pit stops at this track. drivers coming across the front straight. As we watch Benito now coming across the front straight, 330 kilometers an hour. They max out about 336 with slipstream. You lose all that time making a pit stop. So that extra pit stop that Benito is going to make, well, it could play to his detriment. But in the later stages of the race, he's going to have that fresh rubber. He's going to have lighter fuel, or he's going to have the same fuel, excuse me, and he is going to make passes. So we're going to be trying to see Benito be aggressive in those latter stages. For now, though, he's just going to put the pedal down, put the hammer on the throttle, and push as fast as he can.
Antoine Heglin in the Apex Racing UK car, working himself down in towards turn number 1 again. Currently scored in P number 16. It's currently Paulo Mulia just ahead of him on the racetrack as that number 25 car works itself down towards turn number 1. The on-free racing team car there in P number 15. Although Antoine Heglin getting himself a little bit wide there, he's simultaneously raged under pressure from Miguel Martin in that Radicals Online car. So for Heglin, he's got to be careful. Push too hard, he might lose the position instead of gaining one.
Yeah, definitely, and well, pushing too hard here is very, very easy, as we've seen so far. The corners bite. You get a little bit too off the track on the exit there of, for example, Ascari. That can send the car around because that track is very slippery off the line. Of course, the Lesmos have the runoff behind them that just sucks you into that wall, and well, turn 1. Let's not forget these curbs. These big yellow and black sausage curbs at the racetrack wheel, they are humongous. You hit them with this car, you're pointing at the sky for a short while. The damage it can do to your suspension and your aero is massive.
Oh yes, definitely. As we're Patrick Holtzman right back behind the rear then of Andre Borcha, down in towards turn number 1, and he will fall back into line. So nothing of the sort there for that number 27 driver of Patrick Holtzman. Whilst we have the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, we will step aside for just one moment. We'll take your RaceSpotTV side by side. We'll be back after this.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com has officially begun.
Enter Benito then from the race lead onto pit road, out of pit road, and they say pit stop time in 9.6 seconds. Feeding out into an absolute gaggle of traffic here. And let's have a look. I think Isaac Price will just be behind them as they come down in towards turn 1. Indeed, he is. And, well, Rachel, at this stage of a run, Enter Benito's got to remember that he will be slower than the cars around him because they have all now got less fuel than that Team Redline number 9 machine.
They do indeed, and that's going to make it really difficult for him to gain positions. This early in the race, and we're on lap 19 right now, of course, of 53, so either this is an incredibly long second stint where he's hoping to undercut people, or he's aiming at a two-stopper. I think this could be a two-stop, Renzo Benito. Could cost him this position. Of course, he's soared to the front, he pulled away, but as things stand, of course, lighter fuel means he can just run away, and with everybody else looking like maybe a one-stop, not sure the undercut will be enough, so it'll be difficult for him to find out about this, especially as you mentioned, heavy fuel now. Everybody else is light. Traffic's going to be terrible.
Yeah, it'll all feed itself back together towards the end of this race. But Gregor Hutu once again leads the way. Capturing himself from Martin Kroenke, 8.5 seconds. They come down into the first chicane once again. And then from Kroenke to Picarda, that gap is stable right now, Johnny, at about 1 second. Meanwhile, though, you've got Patrick Holtzman. He's actually just got himself side by side. He's just going to make the pass there on Andre Borcha. Holtzman is on the move.
Oh, great pass from Patrick Holtzman. Classic maneuver. on the straight, side by side, outbrake him into turn 1. He gets it. Can Borcha attack though? No, he's way too far back. So Holtzman making a move now. Luis in front, sort of creeping in. Both of these two are actually reeling in Hugo Luis as well. So we'll see how much time Hugo Luis can lose actually in this stint. He's going to make their pit stop soon as Holtzman pushing to the limit as well. So Patrick Holtzman into 5th position. Really, really promising race. We've had guys such as, I think it was, what's his name? Sorry, I can't remember where he is. Where is he? Anton Higgelin there in P16 for Apex Racing UK. He had a great race, I think, at Sebring. So every race we've seen one guy really prove his worth. And today, so far, it's been Patrick Holtzman.
Yeah, having a look on board of Hugo Luis then, the 2011 iWCGPS World Champion, as he works himself down into the Cobra Parabolica. Right now, he is 13 seconds behind Gregor Hutu. Now, Rachel, that isn't that much, and it all depends on when both Coanda and Redline will come into pit road. It does look as though, though, that Redline at least are covering their strategy up, just in case someone to do something a little bit different. Realistically, the exception of maybe 1-2 drivers, it's only be Enzo Benito who's come into pit road so far on a true two-stopper.
Yeah, I think we have to pretty much look at that as a two-stop, and I think that's going to hurt him today. I really do. I think we're in true one-stop territory from what the majority of the likes of Commander and Redline are going to be doing. I think a one-stop is the game here, and it's a gamble. And, of course, someone like Enzo has to try that gamble. He has to see what he can do. And with it being such a high-speed circuit, it could be a possible gamble. We'll only find out in the last 5-10 laps. But right now, yeah, he's stuck out there on heavy fuel, around people with low fuel. He's not making the gains he needs. He's in too much traffic.
Yeah, our aerial coverage today is brought to you by An1 Design. As the cars work themselves down towards turn number 6 and 7, the Curve de Lesmo here at Monza. We're having a look at the battle then between Juhu Abe and Robin Friscop. So you can see there, they work themselves out of Lesmo 2 down this back straight. You can notice as well, and just 1 second, you'll see there's the old oval that was used many years ago, actually, Johnny, back in the 1950s as part of this racetrack. Taken away, it's been allowed to crumble, but the oval at Monza is still probably one of the most symbolic parts of this racetrack.
Yeah, available to drive at iRacing. Get your hands on it. Incredibly entertaining and thrilling as you scream through the oval. You can drive the whole layout as well with the Grand Prix track, and then you feed yourself onto the oval as well. Going back to that battle though with Juho Abe there, trying to get the slipstream 6/10 behind. I talked about this before. As a driver, you really have to, no matter how far behind you are, sometimes you can even be a second behind. Even if you gain a 1,000th of a second getting into the slipstream of the driver in front, it's worth it. Always try and stick behind, unless of course any part of the car is overheating. So that's when you have to start cooling the engine on the straight, creeping out of the dirty air of the driver in front. So far though, Juho Abe was 1/10 faster than Robin Friscop's last time around, and now towards the second chicane, gaining incredible, visibly, look at that, braking very late though, losing lots of time. So you can see visibly he's gaining time, but he just butchered it all into that second chicane.
Yeah, Abe still there, scored in the 14th position in that running racing car. So far today, Rachel, he's moved himself up 10 positions now. Although it does seem to be that those 2 9X cars together, that Drafter is talking about, is helping them keep inside the top 15 for the time being. Abe is pushing with all of his might, however.
Yeah, he is, and it's a good run from him so far, of course, but a lot of drivers have seen big movers throughout the field here, of course. We've got P20 up into 13th, we've got, wow, P14 and P17 in 8th and 9th, but they've all been helped by the major fracas we had in the middle part of your field. So that's pushed people up, but hey, this is racing, it happens, and of course, these guys having a great run. Juho have been quiet for a couple of races now. We saw a lot of him last year, and it's great to see him actually getting back up into that middle pack right now. And Johnny, I think you've got something?
Yeah, Benito there, Parabolica trying to make his way through the field, got very loose, saved the car at the last second. Oh, he almost snapped onto the gravel and into the wall there. As I said, so difficult at this track. You set the car up, you try to get as much rear end grip as you can, you set that suspension very softly on the rear end to try and power out of the corners. But when you're trying to power out of a fast sweeping corner such as the Parabolica, we see there Benito almost spinning off the track.
Yeah, there we are, getting a replay then from the number 9 Fnatic Team Redline car of Enzo Benito down in towards Parabolica. He comes, well, he almost had himself a very, very scary moment And he's in some ways a little bit lucky that he's got that AstroTurf tarmac thing on the outside of the corner, but a big wiggle by him. Catching actually did great at the gutter, and it seems to me it's a bit like the white line, Johnny. You don't want to touch the white lines, you do not want to touch a gutter on the Parabolica.
No, certainly not there. So Benito getting very lucky. He lives for another day, 30 laps remaining as well. Trying to get in front, those two drivers in front, Yoni Tamala and Jeremy Brutalup battling. So this is the disadvantage of that two-stop, the traffic. I mean, it's simple. I mean, it's stating the obvious. So now Enzo Benito as Holtzman in the pits. So Enzo Benito trying to push and get past drivers. Patrick Holtzman in the pit lane.
Yeah, so the Movano First Mercedes team car is leading your way of potential one-stoppers. Actually, Rachel, 8.1 seconds. I think he might have to come in again there.
He might, but we are roughly approaching now a two-stop window, a one-stop window, I should say, sorry, because we're on lap 24, so very fast pit stop. Well, I'm not really expecting that unless he's planning to come into a short stint now, pushing really hard, and a second really short stint. This is one-stop territory, so either underfueled by mistake, or they are going for two short stints.
Yep, so Enzo Benito then has found a partner on the drivers who have actually come in for a scheduled stop. Patrick Holtzman comes back out into the racetrack. That is behind Tomo Megalek there, and the number 39 TNT Racing Machine as they come down now. This is on the exit of the second chicane down towards plasma number 1 that they welcome themselves down into now. Further up for your field, Jamie Bootley, Enzo Benito, and Enzo Benito running on board of him. Johnny, he's trying to put that pressure now onto Bootley in that number 24 Radicals Online car.
No, he's trying to get into he's into the slipstream now, trying to brake late. Oh, the extra speed again. He carries so much more apex speed into every corner. It's so visible though through Parabolica. You see the difference in driving styles. Enzo Benito quite visibly, you can see there, carrying so much more apex speed. It hampers him though on the exit. I think he has to adjust driving style. Any driver would know this as well. Trying to make passing maneuvers, you have to adjust your driving style and you have to improvise depending on different situations. So far, the biggest difference I would coach Enzo Benito at this moment if I was live with him is to start getting better exits and don't worry about carrying so much entrance speed.
He is still scored in the 10th place. Of course, he has made a pit stop. A lot of the drivers in today's event have yet to have done so. They're all looking to work themselves onto a one-stopper here today. Well, one driver who's not had the day they would have wanted, Rachel, is this one. It's Mo Garfield in the number 11 Radical Online car. Qualified on the 3rd row of the grid, now classified all the way down in 23rd position.
Yeah, not where he'd want to be, and, well, Iwasaka's been trying hard today. He's had a really good run, but just really held out by the early incidents, so perhaps delayed because of that, but it's not the run he would have wanted. Definitely up a lot of positions, though. Major improvement, but one lap down. Probably not going to recover that with the pit cycle, as we know the leaders have not pitted yet, but if you're already in the grasp of falling a lap down before the pit cycle, it's pretty much guaranteed to stay.
Enzo Benito has found himself past there. We saw that one. Jeremy Boosloop now down into the 10th position, and that was pretty academic there, Johnny, which is surprising, seeing as Boosloop really should be on about fumes by now.
Yeah, he pretty much just let him through. Bootloop giving up on that as well now, he's too far back, so he's given up. Benito into the top, he's into P9, so he's already in the top 10. Oh, wow, so, I mean, what's going through Enzo Benito's head at the moment? The strategy is not working out. I think he should have definitely expected this with a two-stop. Maybe he just wasn't comfortable with the car on a one-stop, because it would be logical to make as few stops as possible. You're just so much straight lines at this track, so as you're calculating the strategy, you just acknowledge that the amount of traffic, the amount of time you lose, it's just incredible. So now Benito is still trying to get past. He has to get past Yoni Tamala there in P8. Good drive from him. He's up into P8. Started from 17th on the grid. So great to see him up there in the top 10.
Yep, as just outside your top 10 actually, you've got yourself still an ongoing battle between Chris Cobbs and Huey, but this is for P number 12, P13 on the circuit right now. And a little bit further more down, you got yourself Tomo Megalek in the TNT racing car, battling out with the Movano First Must X Team car of Patrick Holtzman, who of course has also made himself one pit stop here today. They are your two big battles that we've got on, but Rachel out front, well, Gregor Hutu's doing what Gregor Hutu does best. He's setting purple sectors all over the place. He set himself the fast lap of the race so far by some 0.4 of a second almost, and he's just destroying whilst in concave lap for lap pace.
Well, this sounds like Gregor Huti's about to come into the pits, because he tends to wake up about halfway into his run and run a few laps and Then he gets to a point where he thinks he's told he's coming to the pits, so the purple sector's come out. He makes a massive break from the car behind, pits, and then does the fastest outlaps we see. This is Gregor Hutu. It's what he does. He is one of the masters of the pit cycle. And, well, I think we can read him like a book by now, and he's about to come in.
Well, the last lap time he did was a 122.653, purple sectors everywhere. And we actually have a look at his positions. He's been as low as P2 after Enzo Benito got past him earlier on in today's event. But it has so far been an absolutely stellar day for Gregor Hutu, as he indeed, Johnny, comes on towards pit road this time.
Yeah, very fast speed approaching the pit lane entry. Very important not to drive too far in and carry or get a penalty as well, is what I'm supposed to say there. Looking for his box as well. This is the second stage of the pit stop, braking, not missing the box. Gregor, too experienced to make a mistake like that, gets into his red line pit stall, and they service that car as well. So we'll see how long this pit stop is. It's certainly going to be long. He's going to take lots of fuel. We know he's on that one-stop strategy. Gregor Hutu will leave his box right now. Good pit stop.
Yep, so that means that you've got Enzo Benito here. He's going to get himself past, but don't forget that Enzo Benito will have to make another stop in this event. So Enzo Benito is past, and he's got himself about a 4-second advantage right now over Gregor Hutu. It was a pit stop time of 11.8 seconds for the 4-time world champion on the #1 car. But now Martin Kroenke leads this race. He got Paul Ulbrich, Yuhu Abe onto pit road this time, Rachel.
Yeah, Yuhu Abe in for that pit road to get his tyres and racing fuel right now. And behind him, one of the Orion race cars comes in. That's Antoine Heglin, I think, and he's in for his service too. Dion Burgess, I apologise, but he'll be in there now getting that service, and we have one of the Heglins coming out of the pits as well, I believe.
Yeah, you've got yourself Miguel Martin, Antoine Heglin, Yuhu Abe, all making pit stops like last time by. We look at on board there with Dion Burgess, his pit stop time 11.6 seconds. Miguel Martin 12.2 seconds. He is back out and away. Antoine Heglin has made himself a stop in the Apex Racing UK car, 9.5 seconds. Then Yuhu Abe in the Running Racing Team number 10 car, 11.1 seconds. All of these drivers looking as though they are on clear one-stop territory with that fuel stop. As an Alpacala's on pit road.
Yep, Pacala searching for his box as well, so he's in the pits, and look at that
angle.
That's really important, to be honest. That angle, as you exit the pit lane, look at the exit, it's there. There's a wall in front of you. Really important to get that angle right to minimize the time loss. He gets that well. An 11.2 pit stop, I believe, for him, Will.
Yeah, 11.1 seconds. So as he comes back onto the track right now, let's see who's got around him. Paolo Muglia is on pit road. It does look as though that Oli Picard will come out in pretty much clean air. So he is now down in a, well, currently gross P number 11, but he will probably progress back up as Muglia making himself a pit stop. Rachel down in 13th place. He's going to fall back probably to the rear end of the top 20.
Should be with his pit stop, of course, but, well, that'll be his last stop. We have a lot of cars still to come in, of course. Borcha, Luis Kroenke, and the entirety of the Commander team, actually. Sergio Stamala, they all have to stop yet, of course. That will cycle Benito back to the lead at this time, but he has to come in again. 4 seconds is not enough. He's going to have to start really pulling away from Gregor Hutu.
Yeah, but Kroenke's in. Kroenke is in this time as he makes his pit stop then. So let's have a look. Will we get ourselves Hugo Luis? Luis will stay out on the racetrack. So Hugo Luis is actually leading this race. Kroenke is onto pit road then. So Kroenke is in. Philo's in as well. Kroenke going to get himself 4 tyres for the first time and the only time realistically here today. Lap number 30 of 53 here in the 5th round of the iWCGPS World Championship Grand Prix Series. Andre Borcha also making a pit stop. Kroenke out and away in 10.8 seconds. And Andre Borcha going to complete his service in a time of 11.2 seconds. He now heads himself back out onto the racetrack. And that means our third different leader, Johnny. It is Hugo Luis.
It is indeed. Well, Patrick Holtzman gets in front of Andre Borcha. That's critical for Patrick Holtzman. You know, he might, or most definitely have to make an extra pit stop. So, well, Patrick Holtzman for the moment now, he's into P10. Who else would enter? Benito? Yeah, we know he's going to have to make an extra pit stop. Into P4, stuck behind Yoni Tamala still. Hasn't got past. He's losing so much time, though. But I think for the moment, it's all head up for these two drivers. pushing, having some fun for the rest of the race. 24 laps remaining. Hugo Luis, though, leads a lap. Good to see him back up there, even though he hasn't made his pit stop yet.
Yeah, but there's an important point here. Last time by, 122.979 for Hugo Luis as he comes on towards pit road this time by. This is where things get interesting. He was 2 seconds faster than Gregor Hutu that last time by. Hugo Luis has just brought himself back into this event, and it's interesting to know that even though Martin Kroenke is falling behind Gregor Hutu, look at all that traffic there, 5.7 seconds. Hugo Luis should be there in the mix. Luis then down to a stop as he gets himself 4 fresh tyres, and he will get himself topped up with fuel. So where will he feed out? Well, Benito's gone past and Hutu's gone past already, and looks like Kroenke will go past as well. But here's the thing, Rachel, this race is not over. It's now about who can be the best on this fresh set of tyres.
It is indeed, and of course with Luis stopping a little later, actually, he'll be on slightly better tyres towards the end of this. We know Gregor can manage his tyres very well. We still don't know what's going to be happening to Enzo Benito, of course. Will he come in again? We expect so. He's round. Benito spins.
Oh, and this is down, and this is going to allow Gregor Hutu right up behind him. So Enzo Benito, we've seen errors by him before in the series. It's been another one. This is down into the second chicane. The Variante della Roggia. Enzo Benito looping it around, and now Gregor Hutu just 1.4 seconds back. Let's have a look at a replay then. Down into that second chicane, we've got the back end of it, Johnny. And, well, that chicane is so difficult, and it looks as though that time Enzo Benito is just a little bit too aggressive over that sausage curb. He is spun around, and he, right now, could have some form of suspension damage. We'll stick it on this replay for a moment, Johnny.
Oh, well, yeah, he's taking too much sausage curb. We know that damages the car so much. And at the Ascari chicane, I think he's out of the race. Enzo Benito, incredible. So he's it's such a promising race for him. Even at the start, top 2 battling, leading the race. He's just butchered it all. Too much sausage curb, and oh wow, I mean, it's just absolutely heartbreaking for the red line driver. Certainly not his ability. We know how strong he is as a driver, and this is not his best showing today.
Well, Rachel, just like Mika Häkkinen in 1999, Enzo Benito has crashed out from the race lead. We're just having a look at the second one of these incidents then from Benito. So he got himself some suspension damage, probably the underside tray down at the second chicane, then down into Ascari. We're having a look there. He actually clipped the, he was just trying to be too aggressive, I think, there. He just clipped the side on the entry into the corner. We're going to have to get ourselves a super slow mo replay of this one from our aerial coverage, but I think what the issue was is he just clipped the curb on the way in, took too much of it, and that is the reason why he's out of the race. Actually, it was a second unforced error.
Well, I think it all comes back to that first incident. Of course, he lost it in the second chicane. Tyres were overheated, and the car seemed wobbly. He got back on the gas, and the car wobbled underneath him, so that kind of gripping as much as he'd want. The two Lesmos corners are slower, so of course the first high-speed corner he comes to is the Ascari chicane. I think those tyres still didn't have the gripping not needed from them, and committed too fully, and that car just went round, so unfortunate end for the home favourite.
Well, Enzo Benito, and there's how to look. He did catch the left-hand wheels. We'll slow it down right here, and you can just see those little rumble strips. He just catches the left-hand wheel on that one down into the Ascari chicane. That sends that car around. That means that Enzo Benito is out of the race, and I'm trying to think of a time, Johnny, when someone has crashed out of the race from the race lead, and yeah, just like Mika Häkkinen in 1999, Enzo Benito out of the race from the point.
Yeah, he lost his rhythm. That's what happened at Ascari as well the second time around. He caught those anti-cut curbs as well, and that's going to damage the car, unsettles it. There's only so much suspension travel these Formula cars have, the Williams. And, well, I mean, all he can do now is just keep his head up for next round of Watkins Glen.
Well, Gregor Hutu now once again leads this race. It's been gifted to him. Martin Kroenke 7.3 seconds back. Team Redline leading the way from Ferrari and Simsport. But one of the things to note as well is that this was the golden opportunity for a couple of people to get themselves back into this championship, Johnny. Enzo Benito was one of them. Now, coming into this event, it was actually, well, 4th place, 52 points back, Enzo Benito. Realistically, it would have been a P2 for him. And realistically, he would have closed up to iWCGPS. But now, he will fall down behind Hugo Luis.
Yeah, so not good for him. He had such a strong start to the season. The Redline and Coanda team had a very, very dominating start, those two teams. First, I'm not sure if I missed something, but this is actually the first real mistake I've probably seen from any of those top guys in those top two teams so far this season. I might be wrong, maybe my memory's not working well, but yeah, so there probably will be plenty more to come throughout the season. It's all in the driver's head for the moment. The best thing Enzo Benito can do, as I mentioned before, is just look forward to next round. Don't let it put you down. He's had such a great showing in those first 4 rounds.
Well, there's the gap, 7.2 seconds, 7.3 seconds between the driver of Gregor Hutu and Martin Cronke. Oli Picana still runs himself in that third place. We'll cycle it back to him. 4.5 seconds the gap between second place Cronke and Team Redline's Oli Picana. Martin Cronke is back up into the place where he started this race, Rachel. He did fall down at the start of it, but because of the fact that he was able to go a lot longer than the Team Redline drivers, he is now back up into P2.
Yes, he is, and Cronke has already run up into this field for most of the race, and of course passed Oli Picala early on, so that was for P3 at the time. Well, now it's P2, so Cronke a lot closer to Hutu, but final end of the stint will make the difference.
Down towards the start-finish line then, and just having a look actually, Hugo Louise, Patrick Holtman, just 3 tenths of a second separating these drivers, and Holtman's going to try and make the move then on to Hugo Louise, down towards turn number 1, of course. Holtman's on the alternate strategy, but it will be Patrick Holtman just breezing himself there past Hugo Louise, down in towards the first chicane he goes. Hugo Louise down into P number 5. Patrick Holtman for the time being up into P4. But we do know that last time by Holtman, well actually last time by the last pit stop, was an 8.1 second pit stop for him. It was a quick one. He pitted early. He should have to pit again, Johnny.
Yeah, if he does, he might feed up around P12, so behind Jeremy Bouteloup. That's actually going to be quite promising for him. He's going to have to make his way through the field again, and if he can pass a man named Hugo Louise, he can pass anyone on track for sure. So Patrick Holtman now pushing to the limit. This is what we want to see out of him, showing his potential. We missed this all for the start of the season. His great showing in that Pro Series, finishing second in the standings behind Mitchell de Jong. Now he's showing his potential. Great to see.
Robin Friscop, Jeremy Bouteloup battling for P number 11, P number 12, and Friscop's in the Inex Racing number 19 machine. Jeremy Bouteloup in the number 24 Radicals Online car. It does look as though, Rachel, that Radicals have learnt from their snafu, shall we say, as far as pit strategy went last time out, and they are on the same strategy as everyone else once again. It's been, of course, a tough day for Mogar Fila, but Bouteloup, a good showing by him, running himself in P number 12. Of course, the other Radicals Online car of Yunus Nakurian, he crashed into the wall at the second Lesmo about 10 laps into this event. As Holtman's got himself, I think, now right onto the rear of Oli Picala.
Yeah, he is indeed closing in on Oli Picala, of course, and yeah, major strategy errors for the Radicals at last time out at Road America. So, well, a lot to recover here, and well, some. Oh, big move now by Holtman. Big draft up behind Picala. Takes the inside line for the second chicane. Straightforward pass, although we might get a cut under back from Picala here. Oli Picala took him back in line to Lesbos. I think he's lost that one, but that was very nearly a comeback there.
Yeah, it was. We'll get ourselves another look at that one then. This is down in towards the second chicane. It was a nice, easy pass when all was said and done. Riding on board then with Patrick Holtman. We'll cycle that camera back around. This is through the Curva Grande. You can just see the overspeed. It's 2 seconds a lap, really, Johnny. And that is what 2 seconds a lap is. You breeze past Oli Picala, who we know is no slouch.
Yeah, definitely no slouch as well. Patrick Holtman, though, trying to put his name up to one of those drivers who is in a slouch up into P3. So he's making the strategy work quite well for him. And hats off to Oli Picala. Yes, he could have fought back into the first Lesmo, but I mean, he would have lost so much time. And if it didn't pay off for him, he would have maybe lost P4 to Hugo Louise, who's back there in 5th position. So Picala playing it safe, knows that Holtzman's way too fast for him, didn't bother to fight back after Holtzman ran way too deep into that second chicane. Now Patrick into P3, when will he come in and make that pit stop? 17 laps remaining, he needs to make it soon, he needs to pass everyone as fast as he can.
Yeah, they can see the times between your top 20 up on the left-hand side of your screen. Holtzman last time by a 124.011, about 8 times per second slower than his fastest lap of the race. But of course, Rachel, when you're having to take some very aggressive passing maneuvers, that does distort your lap time a little bit. So he is at that point when he should be on pit road in the next, I'd say 3 to 4 laps time maximum. If it was to be a perfect thing, he'd probably be pit road this time by. Who knows?
You would indeed, and of course, well, you aren't just aiming for the perfect time on pit road. You've got to find a place to come out in clean air, of course. If the perfect lap number for pit road means dirty air, it might not be the right time to go. So more important than actually getting those fuel numbers is a clean track. You do not want to be held up when you're out on fresh tyres.
Jeremy Bootsloop still battling it out with Robin Friscops. This is the battle for P number 11, P12. We talked about this one. It's been going on for a while. Defensive line being taken there, Johnny, by Friscops, even though he's 8 times per second up the road from Bootsloop. That shows the draft potential here and how worried drivers are about it.
Yeah, 8 tenths behind, 9 tenths now. He's taking defensive lines. But as I mentioned before, even if you're 1 second behind, slipstream does pay a big difference. The man in this field who's doing the best job of that is Ollie Pacala. It's most visible though if we can maybe watch it soon with 16 laps remaining. On the exit of the Parabolica, Pacala sweeps the car in aggressively to the inside of the track, breaks the toe of the driver behind. Hugo Luis 7 tenths, 6 tenths behind Pacala now. He might have to do that again on the run down to Parabolica next time around.
Yeah, the gap between Ollie Pacala and Hugo Luis is currently 6 tenths per second. It will probably be that coming out of the second Lesmo. Let's have a look. Luis actually does struggle in that slow speed corner. And we did think, Rachel, that we're going to have a lot of different downforce packages here today. Actually, I think everyone found pretty much the same thing. We're going to have a look on board with Hugo Luis. And you just see the different lines once again as they work themselves now on the exit of Ascari down towards Parabolica.
Well, we thought a few teams might gamble and not run the low downforce, but I just think it's too costly. I think most teams have, in the end, run that low downforce setup on the car. And it's going to be paying the big dividends here because it is such a fast track. You can't afford to make up anything up in the corners. As we have Holtzman into the pits.
Yep, so Holtzman makes his second pit stop of the day then as we ride along board of him down on towards pit road. Pit road speed here today, well, that is 65 kilometres an hour, and it takes an absolute age. Once you do 330 kilometres an hour down towards turn 1, Johnny, to come down 65 kilometres an hour, well, you really don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's like when you're at the Autobahn in Germany and you exit after going 200 kilometers an hour, going back to 40 kilometer an hour street roads as Holtzman comes out of his box. 6.8 seconds rapid pit stop, 15 laps remaining. Of course, that's quite obvious. It's going to be a quick pit stop. And as I mentioned, into P12 at the moment. And you try and get in front of Juho Abbey. He does into turn 1. So carbon copy of what I said. Into P12 after his pit stop. Now it's all lights to finish. Sorry, lights flag finish for Patrick Holtzman as he races towards Jeremy Bootsloop in P11.
Well, for Patrick Holtzman, he's got himself a bit of a gap to get himself further through the field. It is 4.8 seconds to Jeremy Bootsloop. He will have fresher rubber, though, for the last 15 laps of today's event. That ongoing battle, though, Rachel, between Ollie Pacala, Hugo Luis. This is for the final step on the podium. And, well, Pacala, he's had a slow start, but he's finally got himself into a rhythm in that Team Redline camp after moving from Glacier Racing last year. He settled himself down now, 5 races into the championship. But he has got Hugo Luis right behind him, and he's doing a good job. And there's the line again, holding it all the way down to the inside, then just slowly drifting that car out to the outside to get himself that perfect line down towards turn 1. We've lost Rachel. We'll come back anyway. So there is Ollie Pacala on the exit of the first chicane, now working himself down towards the second chicane. Through the curve grande he comes, and the gap is currently 6 tenths per second. We've got ourselves 14 laps to go. This is the fifth round even of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. Don't forget, you can also check out on iRacing Live the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com. Huge wiggle there, Johnny. That was by Hugo Luis. He cost himself 2 tenths per second there through that second chicane.
Oh yeah, lots of time. Got onto the gravel as well on the exit. Could have ended his race. So, I mean, that could have ended up a lot worse than it already was. So Hugo Luis losing a few tenths, as you mentioned now. He can still make it back up. He's losing lots of time to Ollie Pacala in front nonetheless with the dirty air. So he should make that time up quite rapidly. We talked about it before, though. Pacala's doing a great job. ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see what World Championship drivers, they do sneaky things, and that's what Pecala did, as we talked about every single lap for the past few laps. He just sweeps in at the exit of the Parabolica, breaking that toe from Hugo Luis. It's stuff like that that separates these top drivers from the average.
Yeah, there you can see just drifting himself across the racetrack. That is one move. You're perfectly entitled to do that. So a little bit further down, Paul Hilbrinkton versus Isaac Price. Last time by a 1:23.9 for Isaac Price and 1:24.2 for Paul Hilbrinkton. This is going to be an interesting one to the end of this race, Rachel. Just 6 tenths of a second as Price tries to hunt down Paul Hilbrinkton. Battle for P number 8.
Yes, it is indeed. Hilbrink getting a great run at the moment, and just got to keep Isaac Price from behind him right now. That gap is closing quite quickly, so I think Isaac Price might have something for him very soon.
Down in towards Curva Grande. They work themselves once again then, as this is a nice little scrap. Go back on board with Isaac Price on the exit of Curva Grande, down towards the Variante della Roggia. Once again, the second chicane, turns number 4 and 5 on the circuit. Back in the pack as well, Tommaso Carla right behind Dion Verges, down to the inside, down towards turn 1. Easy pass, Johnny.
Yeah, we haven't spoken about Tommaso Carla. Patrick Holtzman's teammate there at Movano, so both those drivers we know finished 2nd and 3rd in the Pro Series, both new to the World Championship in 2015, and both showing their worth in 2015 for the moment. Carla up into 17th position, not his strongest race. He's had one top 10 finish so far in 2015. Won't happen this time around. He started in 8th, got caught up in lots of damage and lots of battles near the early part of the race. He's dropped back down into 18th, so just trying to damage limit the rest of the race.
Well, gap is now less than half a second between Hilbrink and Price on the exit of the Parabolica. Let's have a look. Will Paul Hilbrink take a defensive line? Let's have a look at the overspeed there for Isaac Price as well. 4 tenths per second, and well, Price actually isn't using the draft there, Rachel. He just sticks it down to the inside. Paul Hilbrink goes to the outside and towards turn 1. Price isn't really caring about using the draft.
He's not, and that's actually kind of surprising because the draft is so important, especially in these cars, and any little bit of extra hole in the air you can gain, of course, big advantage. Not sure what Isaac Price is trying to do right now, but it's not helping.
Yep, as this battle continues then for P number 8, P number 9. To give you an update on the Pecala versus Lee situation, it's still 1.2 seconds. Not much has changed between those drivers as Jeremy Boostloop continues to battle out with Robin Friscops as well. So what we've got here, Johnny, is a couple of positions up the road. You've got yourself a Radical driver defending from an 9X driver. Here you've got a Radical driver attacking a 9X driver. Neither of them seem to be able to overtake the other.
Well, we know teamwork in sim racing is so important, and we know, yes, as a driver you're in there, you're at the track on your own, but working as a team in Formula 1 as well, you got so many engineers, thousands of people working in one team, or hundreds as well, just trying to make that car better. In sim racing it works the same way. You got teams of even 20 to 30 people at times as well, trying to get the setup right, trying to find the minimum amount of time to make it around the circuit at the moment. Isaac Price though, 2 tenths behind. Can he pass into turn 1? He's a bit too far back.
Yeah, as you can see, he falls back into line in that number 12 Inex racing car. Through turn 1 they come then, the first of the 3 chicanes here at Monza. The Variante della Ritofilo on the exit now of Curva Grande they work, and this could be a good passing opportunity down into the Variante della Roggia, and it looks as though that Price is setting himself up not quite close enough once again, Rachel. It does seem to be that for Price, his best bet is into turn 1. He just needs to line himself up well on the exit of the Parabolica.
He does, and of course, it's kind of like putting the chicken before the egg, Will. You've got to make sure you can have that draft, because if you don't have the draft and if you don't line up the previous exit from the corner, you have nothing coming out the straight. You don't get the exit speed, you don't get the run, but if you don't go in a bit deeper to try and get closer, you aren't going to get the run in the first place. So it's very difficult to do, but I don't know why he's pulling away. The car shouldn't be having any overheating issues, so I can't see him needing to break that draft to get clean air. And on a straightaway, you obviously don't need extra air on the front wing. Why he's staying out of it, I'm not sure, but of course, as you see Hilbrink there, he does duck in a little on the entry just to break that toe, and Price is not reacting to it as much as we'd think, because the first time in a while, he seems to be actually following his toe.
Yeah, but he's not actually getting the overspeed there down in towards turn number 1. The gap is still 3 tenths per second. There's an interesting one. I think the INX drivers have actually set their car up to working by themselves, Johnny, not to be passing lots of drivers.
Yeah, Paul Ilbrink in front, and so this is not going to be great for Isaac Price at the moment, trying to get in front. So this is going to be a struggle. It's going to be struggle town for him come 10 laps remaining in this race. Another driver we will concentrate on, Patrick Holtzman there in 12th. He's about 6 tenths of a second faster than Jeremy Bootloop in front. So if Patrick gets a top 10 finish, I think he'll be pretty happy with that result, considering he started in the 11th position outside of the top 10. Where can he finish? Hugo Luis, though, dropped to 1.8 seconds behind Oli Bacala. So at the moment, though, Hugo really, he needs to show his fighting spirit to get that final podium position.
Yeah, and this lap, he has made himself an incident because his last lap was 123.5. This time at 124.1. The real reason is that these Team Redline drivers, all of a sudden, Rachel, all down into the low 1 minute 23. Hugo Luis at a 124.1 last time by.
Yeah, which isn't great for him right now, of course, and that's quite slow as things stand. Of course, Bacala's just in a 23.2, Kroenke is at a 23.3, and Hutu at the master at the moment, 23.2. So Luis is nearly a second off the pace as things stand. Everyone behind him as well probably must have made a mistake or something, because we don't expect such a difference from Hugo Luis. But of course, he does now have, I believe that is, no, I was looking at the wrong car. That is Borch. He does have Sturgis right all over him now.
Yep, and this is about for P5, P6 right now, is riding on board with Jake Sturgis. He is no stranger to this. He's up 3 positions so far in this race, John. He started P9, now in P6, hunting down Andre Borcher to get himself into the top 5. And it's not been necessarily the start of the season that Jake Sturgis would have wanted, but he is now just starting to build up that momentum, and he is right on the rear now of Borcher on the run down to Parabolica.
Yeah, Sturgis made that pit stop 1 lap later than Andre Borcher in front, and this is what pays off for you. The latter part of the stint with 8 laps remaining, you get that extra grip, the extra rubber come the closing stages of the race, and Sturgis is just so much more confident as well. So tries to get into the slipstream. Borcher trying to make it difficult, tries to make life very difficult actually for Jake Sturgis behind, changing lines all the time for the moment. I think Sturgis is too far behind into turn 1, so he'll have to try and be a little bit more aggressive to make this pass to get himself a top 5 finish, more importantly.
Yeah, Sturgis currently 25 seconds behind your race leader, which remains Gregor Hutu. We've had ourselves a total of 4 different leaders in today's race. Gregor Hutu has led himself 31 laps, Martin Kroenke 2, Hugo Luis 1, and of course Enzo Benito has led himself 11 laps, but he is classified as out of the race for those of you just joining us. A couple of drivers making single car incidents here today. Eunice Currens had it at the second Lesmo, but most importantly, Enzo Benito having himself a solo car incident down into the second chicane, which then led himself to have his second incident down into the Variante Ascari. He is classified as out of the race from the race lead. Antoine Hegelin right at the rear of Tommaso Carla. This is about 4th position. Just behind him, you've got yourself Dion Vergers scrapping it out with Miguel Martin, Rachel. This is back end of your top 20 right now.
It is, of course, and right now Miguel Martin making a charge late in this race. And we are less than 10 laps to go, of course. Time to make those moves, and Tommaso Carla's really struggling right now in that Orion Racing Team car. Miguel Martin Radicals did not done as well as they would have liked this race, but hey, points mean prizes, and Martin's going to be aiming for top 16 right now. I think he can get it, of course. Not too far up the road ahead of him, though, is Antoine Hegelin, so could be a double move and a top 15 in sight for Martin if he can get things moving.
Jeremy Bootloop has found himself past Isaac Price, and that was on the run down through the Variante Ascari. We're going to get ourselves another look back at this one, and well, it's taken a while, but Jeremy Bootloop has now been able to get himself ahead of Isaac Price, and well, he actually took a lot of curb there actually as well. But Jeremy Bootloop and the 2 INX drivers almost came together there, Johnny, by the looks of it.
Yeah, so Isaac Price making that mistake into the Ascari chicane there, so he's lost 2 positions to the drivers. That's allowed Patrick Holtzman 4 tenths behind. This train side by side battling in front for P9 and P10. Incredible stuff here with 7 laps remaining.
Yeah, there you can see that back in the incident for Isaac Price. It's all going on all of a sudden. It's kicked off here at Monza. Once again, it's Friskops versus Price versus Holtzman. 3 drivers. Holtzman can smell blood. We ride on board with him, and this is going to be a charge to the line with what? We're going to come down to 5 laps to go this time by. All of a sudden, Holtzman, just like the Radicals team last time out, Johnny, Holtzman is on the move. He's going to look down to the inside. Easy pass down to the Ascari.
Oh, so Isaac Price on the back foot now, almost. I thought he was going to collect Holtzman, no he doesn't, so good experience there not to go up the back of him. Patrick Holtzman now has 2 guys in front, 1 guy in front to get in front of the top 10, another right there, so Robin Friskops and Jeremy Bouteloup. So Patrick realistically will probably finish this race in P9 if he can get in front. He's only got about a 0.3 of a second to half a second advantage with those fresh tyres and fresh rubber, so I'm not sure if that's enough here around Monza. We'll wait and see with 6 laps remaining.
Well, here is Patrick Holtzman. He's these nuts as he comes down in towards turn number 1 once again, and he's got himself Robin Friskops just a couple of tenths of a second up the road. But then you've also got Jeremy Bouteloup, so not only is potentially a top 10, realistically there is a chance for him to get himself all the way up into P number 9, Rachel. Johnny.
Yeah, he's oh, look at that, into the second. Oh, so Patrick now, he's trying to, he's too cautious, and I don't blame him. He's just trying to get a good result, especially with those 3 guys almost collecting each other in front. Smart to be cautious there, not going all out. So at the moment, and Patrick Holtzman trying to get into the slipstream of Robin Friskops in front. I think he could pass him into the Ascari chicane. He does. Dives up the inside. Oh, and look at that. Incredible defending there from Robin Friskops. And Patrick Holtzman has to fight for it now. He's not going to be given that top 10 position that easily.
And he's fallen back a little bit as well there, Rachel. He's now 6 tenths of a second back, and this is now with less than 5 laps to go. And he is really going to start pushing it now. 6 tenths of a second. He's got to do all that work again.
Oh.
Couldn't make the pass. As just ahead of him, Friskops running out with Bouteloup now. Side by side down towards turn number 1. And you can see Bouteloup down to the outside, down in towards that first corner they come once again. And who will be the winner this time by? It will be the INX Racing car. Yes, it will. Exit of the corner, they stay side by side. They're all bunched up again. INX Racing now leads this little pack here. Robin Friskops in 9th, Jeremy Bouteloup in 10th place, and Johnny Patrick Holtzman now right back in it, as Holtzman's going to have a look. They're almost going to go 3 wide, down towards Ascari. This is insane stuff.
Oh, look at this. Can he get the undercut into the first Lesmo? Oh, he's too far back. He might try and dive it up the inside. Bouteloup goes defensive, and I think Holtzman's got that position. What a pass from Patrick Holtzman. Hats off to him. Keeps it together on the exit just, and now he's into the top 10. Incredible stuff here towards the end of the race at Monza. This is the racing we were expecting to see as we came towards this track, and this is the racing we get. So now Robin Friskops there in 9th is the next man down for Patrick Holtzman, who we know is on fresher rubber, 2 stopping this race. Incredible battling so far, incredible aggression, and good to see from a man who needs a great result this afternoon.
Meanwhile, Gregor Hutu still continues to lead with now less than 4 laps to go. The gap between himself and Martin Clonke, 8.3 seconds. Oli Picard has come under pressure once again from Hugo Louise, but that gap is about static at 1 second on the track. Jake Sturgis versus Andre Borcher. They are scrapping it out for position right now. This is for P number 5 and 6, just 2 tenths of a second. Down in towards the Ascari. Sorry, this is the second chicane they're working themselves through now. Down towards the first Lesmo. And Andre Borcher, well, he's holding on, Rachel, from Jake Sturgis. Sturgis does seem to get close into the second chicane, but he's just not able to find a way past.
He can't find a way past right now, of course, and Jake Sturgis is trying, but it's going to be very difficult to see if he can bring anything to Andre Borcher at this stage of the race right now. It nearly got him a few laps ago, but he fell back.
Well, right now, Andre Borcher just having himself a little bit of a breather as they head themselves down in towards the Parabotica, as Gregor Hutu still leading the way on the exit of the third chicane. He comes down in your pack. It's still Friskops, Holtzman, Bouteloup battling it out. Does look as though that Holtzman is going to come back on the charts now with just 3 laps to go in this motor race. Johnny, he wants P number 9, and he wants to steal it away from Robin Friskops in that INX Racing car.
Yeah, he's going to work for it as usual. He's not going to get it that easily. 7/10 behind Robin Friscops and P9 behind him, though. Jeremy Bootloop's a lot closer to Patrick Holtzman as they go towards the Parabolica. Now exiting the corner onto the throttle. We've seen Patrick run wide there a few times this race. This time he keeps it together in front. Sergios trying to get in front of Andre Borcha. Hugo Luis still trying to get in front of Oli Pacala. This is an incredible finish to the race. It's all about keeping that mindset, the aggressive mindset for the whole 53 laps of this event. A very fast race, we know, because of the incredible high speeds at Monza. We get the race distance done quite quickly.
And don't forget, Tommaso Carter, by the way, he's just had himself an incident. We're showing ourselves a replay of this one. This is through Ascari. Exit of the Ascari chicane, back end steps out on him, and he was down in the 18th place. Not the day Tommaso Carter would want. Actually, almost got himself involved in contact with Antoine Hegelin, trying to spin that car back around, but he is down in P number 18 as we're closing it off now. Just 2 laps to go for Gregor Hutu, down in towards turn number 1. He heads himself that first chicane. He comes down in your pack. It's still Holtzman versus Friscops. Ahead is still Sturgis versus Borcha. Rachel, we did not expect to be seeing Inex Racing struggling to pass people at this track.
No, of course, we expect a lot of speed from Inex on this circuit, but they just haven't quite had it. It's quite difficult to see that from these guys, but just maybe not quite as much anticipated downforce loss needed than the other teams have actually got. I think Inex maybe were a little overconfident in their speed.
Yep, down, and we're having a look on board now with Jake Sturgis. You can see that gap to the front of him, still about 4 tenths per second. In fact, he's lost a bit of ground compared to last time out. We've got ourselves pretty much a lap and a half now left to go of this event, running on board with Sturgis. Still nothing he can do. Holtzman versus Friscops, well, that's still 4 tenths per second. Although, don't forget that Holtzman's made some amazing passes down into the second chicane, but also he made that great pass down to the first Lesmo. He's looking to set another one up, getting himself a great run. He's going to have to go the long way round, down into the second chicane. The very end of Della Roger they come. Holtzman on the outside. You got yourself the Inex Racing car. Friscops on the inside. They stay line astern for the time being, but oh, this is a close one, Johnny, with a lap now for them to go. Hutu has started his last lap of the race.
Oh, wow. So this is incredible battling as well. Jake Sterios is 1/10 behind. I think, yeah, Andre Borcha going into the Parabolica. So as Gregor Hutu comes to take his 46th career win, Jake Sterios now right onto the back. This is incredible stuff.
Yep, down in towards the first chicane they will come. Jake Sturgis has waited to the last possible moment. He's going to have to dive to the outside. Down in towards the first chicane they come for the final time in this event. There's a Commander car involved in the mix there as well, but it looks like a Borcha will hold on for the time being. Overspeed not working there for Jake Sturgis, as they're going to be pretty much side by side as they head himself down in towards the second chicane. Here is Gregor Hutu. You can see he's only got himself half a lap now left to go. Go back to Sturgis. Down and towards the second chicane. He's side by side once again as they work himself down into the very empty Della Roger. Jake Sturgis round the outside. Oh, they make contact! Upside down and around they go. Jake Sturgis is slow. Andre Borcha upside down. Final lap of the race there. Big drama. Gregor Hutu will work himself through the Cobra Parabolica. He will claim his 46th victory in iRacing.com World Championship competition. Gregor Hutu for the second race in a row reigns supreme. We'll show you yourselves a replay there of the drama on the last lap of the race. Andre Borja is trying to get his car back going. It's not going to work for him. What a crazy, crazy finish to this race, Johnny.
Oh, wow. Gregor Hutu, great win. We'll talk about that later, but wow, so big incident there with Jake Sterios and Andre Borcha. Luckily, this is only iRacing, so Andre Borcha, well, actually doesn't finish the race as well, so oh, it reminds you of that incident with Maldonado and one of the Saubers at Bahrain last year, 2014. Borcha just went flying into the wall, and the car is way too damaged. Suspension's just completely demolished. He won't finish that race. Jake Sterios, though, will come across the line in 4th.
Yeah, there you can see Andre Borcha there. You can, it worked. We're just showing you super slow-mo replay. Jake Sturgis got himself onto that sausage curb. At that point, he kind of pretty much couldn't turn the car, Rachel. Now, they were being aggressive, both of them, the final lap of the race. The actual incident itself, Jake Sturgis, once he got himself onto that sausage curb, pretty much the steering goes light on. There's nothing you can do. Of course, Sturgis might get himself a penalty from that one. We'll have to see what the stewards do after the race. But I think it was just realistically a case of 2 drivers battling for position last lap of the race.
I don't think you can penalise Jeremy for that one. Jake, sorry. They got through the first part of the corner cleanly. The pair of them gave each other room, and it was going to be exciting and interesting race to see who came out first, really, from the second part of the chicane. And you watch as they turn in, of course, on the replay, and Jake just catches that curb. I need to kind of explain to viewers just how bad those things are. When you get up on one of those, you are not able to change direction or slow down or speed up. The car is kind of bounced across it, and it's just, I don't think he had anywhere to go. I think a little bit of squeeze, a little bit of racing incidents, and it's just unfortunate how it turned out.
Well, Martin Kroenke was able to come home in the second place, so Kroenke continues to lead the charge for Commander Simsport. Oli Picard did come home in third, we're just showing themselves a couple of replays then of drivers heading themselves past the start-finish line. Hugo Louise in fourth, and Jake Sturgis did round out your top five. We'll run yourself through your final race results then here, ladies and gentlemen, from this, the fifth round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. Gregor Hutu, 2 wins in a row then for Fnatic Team Redline. He claims victory by 8.6 seconds over Martin Kroenke. Oli Picard rounding out your podium with Hugo Louise in fourth and Jake Sturgis in crazy fashion there, coming home in P number 5. Jonas Tamada in P6 with Paul Hilbrink, Robin Friscott, Jeremy Bootaloo and Patrick Holtzman rounding out your top 10. Heading ourselves just a little bit further back down your standings. You can see it's Isaac Price in 11th, Paolo Mulia in 12th, Yehu Abe in 13th, Antoine Heglin out of fuel as he crossed the line, MP 14, Dion Verges in 15th, Miguel Martin, Andre Borcha, Tommaso Carla, Tomo Meglick and Justin Lindsay rounding out your top 20. As we can see, Andre Borcha is classified in P17 after that last lap incident. The first of the driver is officially classified as 1 lap down. And finally, you can see Mogar Philo in 21st. A tough day for him and the rest of your results. What a disappointing day for both Alexi Yusi-Yakola and Enzo Benito. It's been a bittersweet day for Fnatic Team Redline. Even though they come home with the win, I'm sure that both Yakola and Benito were looking for so much more. We're going to step aside for just a couple of moments, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with post-race coverage after these messages. You're watching RaceSpotTV, home of the 2015 iRacing.com Indianapolis 500. We'll be right back.
It's been a very long offseason. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakola from the front. They're packing up behind number 1. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see them funneling through the center S's. It looks as though everyone is just about made it through. We have got ourselves some contact though, Rachel.
Side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Humpy's got the advantage, but Ottinger's not going to.
Oh, he got into him!
Ottinger gets into the 58, turns right into him, and that ends Ottinger's run.
We do a lot of live broadcasts now. Every Tuesday is NASCAR night, so on alternating Tuesdays we do the Peak Antifreeze Series, and on the other Tuesdays the B-Class Series, which is the Xfinity cars, and sometimes we'll even do some short track racing depending on the schedule. Every other Saturday we do the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, so the best road racers we have. And we also broadcast some special events, including the Endurance Championship, which is part of the Road Warriors Series. So we broadcast the Daytona 24, the Sebring 12-hour, we'll do the Watkins Glen 6-hour, with several other races along there. And then, of course, the iRacing Pro Racing Champions, which is usually our biggest and most watched event of the year.
That is short track racing, and that's how awesome this sim is, Joe. That's something you see on TV on highlight reels, and we just saw it here, live.
We invite iRacers who are real world racers. They compete every December. Guys like Alex Gurney, Justin Wilson, Scott Speed, Ron Capps, the list goes on. Really some big name drivers from all major forms of motorsport. It's really neat to see them get together and race together.
See Laughlin up top, down to the ball, gets turned! Laughlin gets turned! Caution is out foul at the front of the field!
The easiest place to find the broadcast is on our website, iRacing.com/live. So you can find some of our races on fanschoice.tv as well. A nice place to find iRacing broadcast. You can also find it at mrn.com and peakauto.com.
For the second race in a row, Gregor Hutu is a winner in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series, taking his 46th career victory. We'll have a chat with him in just 1 moment's time. Don't forget, those of you who are fans of NASCAR, the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing.com, returns in just 10 days' time as it heads to Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle, as they continue the world's most exclusive of all of NASCAR championships. You can catch that one on iRacing Live, MRN, the Motorsports Network, on Fans Choice TV, and also on peakauto.com. Well, here's a look one more time at your top 10 here from the 5th round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. Hutu claiming victory by 8.6 seconds, and he joins us here now. And Gregor, 2 wins in a row. It looks as though that return to form is now well and truly complete.
Yeah, thanks. I guess it's all down to qualifying really, and I've been able to hit pretty good laps in the last 2 races, so especially today I think that was my best qualifying in about 5 years or something. The first lap was great already, and on the second lap I almost hit my PB, so that was really a good lap.
We talked about in some ways how qualifying here was not that important because you could overtake, but simultaneously you didn't want to be in the pack. How important do you think it was to be able to start this race from the front of the field? But also, how worried were you when you could see your teammate, Enzo Benito, closing up behind you, getting past you, then putting out a gap on that alternate strategy?
Well, yeah, obviously I knew that Enzo was on 2 stops, so I wasn't too worried about that at that point. So, but yeah, I mean, clean track is always a big deal. So it's much easier when you're out front, and you just have to push hard, and yeah, that's about it.
Well, you've won 2 on the bounce last season. You won 7 on the bounce. We head ourselves to Watkins Glen International in 2 weeks' time. A track which we know you enjoy, and actually it's a run of tracks now that we know that historically you're good at. Watkins Glen, VIR, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, then of course over to Silverstone. Is this now your chance to get yourself firmly back into the championship battle, especially considering the fact that your teammate Yakola had himself a miserable day here?
I guess we'll see. Hopefully I can do a similar run as last season, although it's going to be difficult to repeat that. And yeah, next race at the Glen, I think that's a strange one because I don't really like the track too much in the F1 car, but it's been my best track result-wise. So yeah, hopefully another win there, but I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen.
Well, win number 46 then for Gregor Hutu for Fnatic Team Redline. He claims victory here today. 3rd place goes to Ollie Piccola, and he stood by with the one and only Mr. Johnny Simon.
Ollie Piccola, well done. P3, started 4th on the grid. Were you expecting to have the start that you had there with, we know, Kroenke dropping positions there, or did you think that was going to be a much more chaotic start?
Well, I thought it wouldn't be that much chaotic that start, but I was surprised that I got that good launch, so I was able to get the P2 to the first corner. So I was quite surprised. I was about that start.
We look at your lines, though, throughout the broadcast coming out of the parabolica chicanes. Very smart lines, taking the inside quite aggressively. I mean, was that to break the toe of the slipstream, or was that just the lines you've been taking throughout practice?
Yeah, it has been the line throughout the practice, but when we practiced with Gregor and Alex and Enzo, I noticed that it will help me to defend the position, because when the guys coming behind with the wider line to the entry and to the exit, they are struggling there. So yeah, it turned out to be luckily a pretty good line there. I think that saved a few battles for me.
Finally, any last words from any sponsors you have, as well as your view on next round of Watkins Glen?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks to Fanatec for providing such good hardware. It helped me a lot, and the thanks to OKO and also the Gregor, huge thanks, and Alex and Enzo and Tom. A massive team effort, and Gregor really made a statement here why he's a 4-time world champion. And greetings all the friends and family, and greetings to Ari Härö, and nothing much. Watkins Glen will be pretty difficult. I hate the track, and it's so basically easy, but we'll see what happens.
Hugo Louise stood by with Rachel Whiteford. He came home in 4th place here today.
Well, Hugo, another difficult race for you today, of course. You started in P5, so you did gain a place overall, but of course you had several slowdown penalties issued to you for corner clipping during this race. How frustrating was it trying to keep up that pace and having to fight back from everything you lost?
Hello, and it was frustrating very much, but not that much, because I don't know, I believe the result today was very good, especially thinking about the championship. I still don't have the speed to be up with these guys, so I still trying to just keep the constant. And avoiding any stupid mistakes like I did today for 3 times, getting some slowdowns, but that happens. I was scared about turn 1. I was concerned about the turn 1 incident for the whole week. I've been dreaming about it, and I'm glad at least in the front nothing big happened there. I could defend my position. But yeah, it was a good result. I will just keep trying to keep these results and avoiding any DNFs, because this season has been the most competitive ever from this series. So I'm still looking forward to try something in the end.
Of course, your teammate Martin Kroenke finished P2 and second step on the podium. Do you think that Coanda perhaps might not have had the right package for today at such a fast track? Do you think perhaps you and Martin just pulled the cars up there on experience, and your teammates perhaps had a little bit lost with the low downforce you guys are all running here today? Do you think that perhaps Redline just had something else, something better about the car that you can capitalise against other tracks like Watkins Glen?
Well, I don't think there was anything wrong with the RL package. I just think it's about the pace. You can see that I am always like 3 times per lap slower than Martin. So if there is anything we can do on the setup, maybe it's very little. It's not really a big thing, but we will try to keep working together on it.
Of course, Hugo Louise came home today P4 and still looking good for a top finish in the championship, Will.
Yep, Hugo Louise there, Ian, the Ferrari Kind of Sim Sport driver. P4 for him. INEX Racing having themselves a pretty cool day here. They came home with drivers in P number 5, P6 and P number 8. We've got ourselves, first of all, the driver of Ioannis Mada, who came home in P6. in that iNext racing car. And, well, Yoni, been a pretty good race for you. Finished behind your teammate, which, of course, is a wounded Jake Sturgis on the last lap of the race. Overall, impressed with your result?
Yeah, thanks. It was finally a pretty good race for me. I've had so much bad luck this season and my pace has been slow too, so it was really nice to finish P6.
Well, you came home in P6. You started the race not necessarily exactly where you wanted to, but you were able to avoid much of the drama down into turn 1, being there in the pack. Just how crazy was it?
Yeah, I qualified quite badly, but I was glad it was enough for P17. I was just really lucky to avoid all those crashes, even it was quite hard. It was really crazy.
You worked yourself through the field, and actually the biggest movers inside the top 10 here today. To get yourself to this finishing position, we know the next couple of tracks are traditionally tracks that iNext are pretty good at, but as we head ourselves to Watkins Glen in 2 weeks' time, can yourself and Jake build upon this performance and get yourself a little bit closer to that podium?
Yeah, I think so. Watkins Glen should be really good for us, so we'll see in 2 weeks.
We'll look forward to seeing you then. Yoni Smarter coming home in P number 6. Paul Ilbrink in P7 came home for Radicals Online, and he stood by with Johnny Simon.
Paul, great result there, 7th position. Pretty straightforward race for you, or anything that was you could have maybe finished a lot higher than P7?
Oh, I finished way higher than I could have finished, I think, so I'm really happy with that. It was just a bit scary at the start when there was a Orion car sideways in turn 1, I think, but I managed to drive around it and it worked out pretty well.
Also, talk about strategy this race. We know the one stop paid out and worked well for you. Do you think maybe if you went on the 2 stop, you could have been the only driver that might have made it work? Do you think you made the right decision with strategy for this race? We know you said you did finish a lot higher than you expected.
I don't know. I think the strategies were for us pretty close to each other, and the thing with 2 stops is you're really depending on the traffic working with you, and I'm not sure how that would have worked for us, but I think we made the right choice in the end.
In terms of next round, expectations for you, any self-expectations, anything from the team as well for you to finish high up like you did today? What do you think you can achieve at Watkins Glen?
I think the team as a whole is keep doing better and better, and I think Jeremy and Mogar both had a bit of bad luck here, but they're really the quick guys here, and I expect them to be in the top 10 again. And personally, I just hope to do a better job on qualifying, which I have not been doing so far, but today was okay, and it showed in the race.
Team performance, very important. Back to you, Will Vincent, with Robin Fritzkops. I believe he's in 8th position, or finished in 8th. Started from 20th. Great result from him.
Yeah, he did. It's another iNext racing driver then, just having himself a pretty good day. Robin, how crazy was the start of that race?
I was expecting a huge wreck in turn 1 because in practice, when you do the practice starts and stuff like that, we noticed that it's really hard to get the line right, and you have to slow down so early when there's lots of traffic, but luckily I was able to avoid all the crashes and stuff like that. I think I went up to P13 in the first lap, just avoiding crash cars and stuff like that, and just slotted in behind Isaac and basically stayed there for the whole race.
Well, you had yourself the finish that you would have wanted, finishing inside the top 10, which is something actually look back towards the start of this event, but you were able to get yourself the finish that you wanted here. We'll go to Watkins Glen, of course, soon. 2 weeks' time for that one. It's a track which you've had mixed performances out over the years. Is this one that you think, you can get yourself another top 10 at in fortnight's time?
Yeah, for sure, I think, but the top 10 is going to be possible at Watkins Glen because it has historically been a track that I'm better at than other tracks, so I really like the track, and usually when INX we have a really good pace there, so I think that's going to be, sure, a possible top 10.
Robin Friskops coming home then in a pretty good position here today, Rachel. But we now have to start thinking in a moment's time about the next round of the championship, which will be 2 weeks' time at Watkins Glen International. And back in 2013, it was the defining moment of the championship. as then 3ID drivers Hugo Louise and Martin Kroenke had a huge crash in turn number 1 after actually starting at the front of the field. Watkins Glen is a race which traditionally makes or breaks a driver's championship.
Yeah, it does. And turn 1 at Watkins Glen, I think, is almost as bad as Monza. It's a very wide turn, and we have a lot of them on the circuit and the calendar, like Suzuka, of course, as well. But Watkins Glen, it's tight, and it's very wide. Then suddenly you have to flow through this very narrow window to get the right line out, and it can just lead to shenanigans. The only word I can really use for it, but it's a lot of runoffs, so if you have to push wide, you can. But a tricky circuit, especially the exit from the boot. That's one of the worst corners of a racetrack in the world. I hate it personally, but it's a great circuit. It's fast, it's flowing, and should be an exciting race.
It should well be. And Johnny, of course, 2 weeks' time, we enter the month of May. And once we get into May, business as far as racing goes, it just kicks up a gear. We're actually showing a replay of the start of this race now. And, well, Watkins Glen, as Rachel just alluded to, it's very similar in some ways to turn 1 here. You know, yes, it's only a 90-degree left-hander, but it's banked. It's got camber on it. It narrows up as you work yourself through the hill. We saw drivers 4 wide here on this replay, but you'll get drivers 4 wide, and one driver puts the centre of their car right on that curb transition. It's going to go around. Mayhem will break loose.
It certainly will, and we know Watkins Glen, lots of camber, as you mentioned. It will make for one heck of a race. Incredible racing we saw in the Pro Series there, in the recent Pro Series, the 2014-15 series there. So Kirchhoff and de Jong battling for that lead. Hopefully we'll see the same for the World Championship, but throughout the field, we know how close it is between those drivers. And, well, we'll just have to wait and see in 2 weeks' time. We hyped up Monza a lot. It really worked out for our expectations. Hopefully the same for Watkins Glen.
Yeah, there you can see then all the carnage of the first lap of the race. You saw yourself Frank Levette. He slid into the wall. You can see Alexei Yisiakola there involved. He then ended up taking the escape road. Drivers all trying to take the escape road. The Orion race team driver doing the same as well. And it all started due to the fact that we had ourselves a bit of a scary moment with Ilka Hapala in the field funneling down in towards turn number 1. So that pretty much concludes as far as we have driver-wise. We do have quick opportunity to have a word with Dom Duhan, who is team principal for Team Redline. And Dom, it's been kind of a tale of 2 sides today. One hand, it's been really good. You got yourself Gregor Hutu's 2nd victory in a row. You had yourself probably the best performance of the season so far for Olli Pekala. Flip side of that, bad qualifying really put paid to Yakola's race, and he's leading the championship on lap number 1. And also Enzo Benito, unforced error by him, putting himself out of the race.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So mixed fortune for us, but I think we were pretty pleased from our side on Gregor's pace and kind of emergence, at least them getting pole positions and then actually kind of controlling the race, which was really good for him. His pace was amazing. And then on the flip side, we had, and then sorry, how could I forget Ollie? And Ollie, fantastic driver. I know he's under pressure from Hugo at the end. Hugo, I'm sure you're listening. And it was just good to see that he could kind of keep the pace and kind of hold on to that. And so it's brilliant for him, especially in the championship. And then on the flip side, we have, Enzo, who actually we kind of worked out 2-stop was pretty similar to a 1-stopper. You just need to have the clean track. And I think Enzo had a bit of a hardware issue just before, a hardware issue which kind of put him off going into the chicane. And certainly it looked like it kind of, after the first spin, it looked like it kind of re-emerged in Ascari as well, or maybe he just couldn't feel the rear of the car, because I think the guys are consistent enough not to make mistakes like that. And then I think for us, obviously Alexei has been trying to get on pace here, and he's kind of been doing well, but I think had an issue on his first lap in qualifying, and then when you start mid-pack, you're gonna have incidents. You know, you're lucky not to get a couple of scrapes, but he was really unlucky. He got kind of hit twice and out of the race, but he's still 2nd in the championship.
Well, overall, it's a mixed bag, but 2 weeks' time, we head ourselves over to Watkins Glen International. track that historically you've been good at, even if it's partially because of the fact that your competitors trip over each other.
Yeah, and if Hugo is here, I'm sure he remembers several times my 3ID guys always seem to take each other out in turn 1, which really helps us. So, you know, hopefully the race will be a bit better next time. Gregor seems to always do well at Watkins. I have no idea why. These straights seem to suit his style. But anyway, no, so we're looking forward to that. It's a great track.
Tom Duhan, team principal for Team Redline. As far as the championship then goes, ladies and gentlemen, it is 204 points to Gregor Hutu. He takes over the championship lead. Alexei Usiakola tied with Martin Cronke with 180 points. Hugo Louise in P number 4 with 153 points. Oliver Picard in 5th with 150. And then a bit of a gap now, Rachel, back to Enzo Benito, 126 points. He really could have done with that top 1, top 2 finish he would have likely have got had it not have been for his incident here today.
Yeah, really unfortunate there for Enzo, and just so difficult when there are technical problems with the car, and it's something we can't control. It's outside the realm of reasonable preparation when a mechanical fault occurs. So for him to have issues with the steering column on that car, it's unfortunate, but he knows he had the pace. He knows that two-stop could well have worked, and he did come out ahead of Gregor. In fact, he had a good gap to Gregor, so he could have brought that home, but we'll have to wait to see till next time.
Yep, as that does conclude then our broadcast of this, the 5th round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series here on RaceSpotTV. Don't forget, for more information about both the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series and the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com, head over to wcs.iracing.com. Catch my write-up of this event on iRacing News over the course of this coming week. And don't forget, RaceSpotTV is your home of some of the biggest events in all of sim racing. In just 2 weeks' time, we head ourselves over to Watkins Glen International, upstate New York, for round number 6 of the championship. This has been RaceSpotTV presentation, though, of the first ever World Championship event from Monza. From myself, Will Vincent, from Johnny Simon, Rachel Whiteford. We shall see you all next time. Bye-bye. Cars are lined up on the grid. The iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. We are underway. They all come down into turn 1 for the first time.